All right, and I'm not sure if anybody's watching just yet. If you are, pop in the chat and say hi. We're just getting things set up. Hopefully the audio is okay. Mr. Mean is streaming. It's been a minute. It's been a hot minute, guys. I'm telling you, Mr. Mean has been tired. So I'm going to launch. Go here. We're going to go here. It's been a minute. It's been a hot minute, guys. I'm telling you, Mr. Mean has been tired. It looks like it's all working. So let's see here if we can make things work better. As you can tell, it's been a minute since I logged into Facebook. I don't know where's groups now? They keep changing this shit. I am not a fan of the new Facebook, for sure. Where's my groups? There we go. Now you got to go here and go to groups.
The Mean.
Hey, is that the Izzy?
It is.
Hey, what's up, sir? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, I'm streaming on the YouTubes.
You're a nice one,
Mr.
Mr. Mean.
Boy, that's an oxymoron.
I can't say you're a mean one, Mr. Mean. I mean, that's doesn't work. It's
right.
you know.
You're a mean
So,
one, Mr. Mean. Yeah,
besides,
It
you know,
works
you're
just
you're
fine.
you're mean in name only, and variable points other words if you rub you the wrong way.
I was
Otherwise, you're
say,
a loving, nice.
talk
You're a nice
talk to my
guy until you're
employees.
not.
They would quite possibly disagree with you emphatically.
You know, yeah, but look, you know, holding people accountable falls under mean these days, and I'm the same kind of mean. You do people a favor.
Right.
That's not being mean. That's or you know, he can't be mean to his army. That's the reality of it.
Well, I
So
can.
that's that. Well, yeah, but then we won't fight for you. See?
Well, there is that kind of thing, Who's that?
What's my excuse? Wait,
That's
what's
the joy
my
of a
excuse?
volunteer army.
That's right.
We don't have to sign back up.
That's right.
Wait, yeah, I don't.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't read the errata there, Brian. This fine
Yeah.
text.
I didn't sign a
taking me to the-
contract.
That's
The
right.
U.S. government got me with a contract once. It's never happening again.
That's right. Fool me
Probably
once, right? I'm posting to all the socials because I can. How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm a little bleary-eyed. I've been staring at this PDF for, I don't know, since I woke up this morning.
Yeah. Well, that's what you do, though. Isn't that your job? This is Wiki, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do. I realized that I was when I was going through and editing, most of my index got all of my or almost all of my index tabs disappeared. So now I'm trying to go back in and put them back in, and that's about the worst part of game design is indexing a book. That's why so many books have shit indexes and no bookmarks, is because it just sucks to do.
I'm going to say Project Sunflower would be like awesome if like all the links worked in the index, but hey, You know,
I'm not there yet. That's
it's
you know,
shitty
that's
game
like
design. You know, that's all I'm saying.
getting the links to work is like the last thing you do because
Right.
once you move anything around, it's starting over, and it's like
Right.
bloody hell.
Well, you know, it's like buying a house. You know, the sink in the bathroom is dilapidated and, you know, just nasty. And so my wife was like, sure would be nice if we could, you know, change it out. And I said, "Psst, piece of cake. I got this, baby." Went to the store, bought a Moen because, you know, it's for life. And, you know, started to tear the sink apart and realized that they jury rigged the fuck out of it. And so now this, you know, 10-minute project has literally turned into 2 days. So now
Oh
I got to
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so pissed. It's not even funny. And I'm just, you know, bending over and contorting and, you know, getting all these weird shapes to try and fix other stuff, you know.
I got I got the same thing with my place, John. You know, and I've had it for, you know, half a fixed mortgage at
Right.
this point, and I'm still like, I still get stuff with like legit contractors, and you know, as we're working on stuff, people like this. What is this? This isn't. You can't. You're not.
Yeah.
This isn't up to code.
Well, you live in the
But,
land.
you know,
Northern California
every-
and Southern California's worse is the land of jury rig, first of all. So that goes without saying, unfortunately. I'm sorry to say it.
You know, you find New England ingenuity everywhere in
True,
America.
true.
That way, you know.
So true.
But I had somebody telling me to, you know, I could save a lot, you know, on a roof. I replaced my roof a couple years ago. You know, it was like the neighborhood thing, I guess, like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like, you know, like I'm the stupid guy who's probably paying too much because as it turns out, like, you know, everybody else just gets under the, you know, under the table, non-contract work for their roof replacement, saves a fucking bundle. I'm
Right.
like, yeah, sure, until you have an insurance claim or something goes wrong.
Or until it starts leaking in the middle
Oh,
of a
man.
rainstorm, which, you know, happens in Northern California.
Yep. So I mean, you know, you got to watch stuff. It's, you know, but it was, yeah, it's a lot. You got to watch out. That stuff just drives me up the wall when I find it. I'm like, why did you do this?
Yeah.
And John, I hate to tell you, but some of this stuff comes up like, yeah, I know, like you should find it all of the inspection. You should be on everything. Like, hey, this is a crack. I'm going to need to have this covered, or, you know, but there's stuff that only comes up after you've been a homeowner for a while, and like, you know, you got no idea what the pipes lurking under your house are like, or
Right.
you know, the seasonal stuff. You know, our buddy BK deals with this weird flooding, and we keep looking at it going like, yeah, I guess if it rains, it's going to come down that hill and into your basement. What the F?
Yeah.
Oh
I,
man, the
had
last
to
place
get-
that I lived was horrible for rain coming into the basement. It was really bad. I'm so glad I don't have that problem here.
Yeah.
I get a little bit, but I have to sandbag. If it gets crazy flooding in my backyard, there's a spot along the back end of the garage.
I had to get part of the deal for the house was the previous owners had to put gutters on the garage, and if you look on the east wall of the garage, which is the long side of the garage, the way it's sitting, you can see the wall goes out and it bows. It's almost like a C. You know, it's just bowed out because it's on the bank of on the foot of a small hill, and so all the snow and the water is pushing the concrete wall in, and it's causing so. And the home inspector was like, "It's not an immediate concern, but you need a gutter up there." And so that was part of the requirement was that they were going to have to pay for a gutter and put it up, and they waited to the last fucking minute, and I was livid. I was like, "You guys have had 60 days." You know, we agreed to a 60-day closing, and it's like, what the, you know, it's not.
Yeah, but you know what, man? It is all money. And I'll tell you this as a negotiator, like giving up money one way or the other, they have to either spend the money to make the repair, or they need to take the money off of the price, is essentially, or they lose the deal, is essentially it. And that's people have good interest, you know, good intent, but it's always tough to like chop a little bit more off, dude. People are like,
here's the part. I don't have any sympathy because they made $100,000 off of the sale of this house. I mean, clear. After all the cuts and everything that everybody gets, they made $100,000. So fuck them. They can spend the $4,000 to put in a gun.
Yeah.
You know.
That
And
ain't
I
that
told
much
him, I
for a
said,
walk
I
away.
told my realtor, I said, I'm not afraid to back out. I'll get my money back because this is breach of contract on their part. We gave them a 60-day closing cost. That is not, you know,
Yeah.
that's easy.
Listen to you with giving them notice on a 60-day. You learned. You've absorbed all this knowledge from hanging around me, and you've applied it effectively, like a blankety blank and blank.
Right?
And I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you. Well, I do manage a multi-billion-dollar warehouse, so I think I've learned a couple of things in my couple of years doing it.
And I got no experience with any of that. I bought a house and I got really lucky, and I do almost all of the repairs myself because I'm poor and that's how that does.
Yeah. But you have some amazing woodworking skills, so
Yeah.
uh
You can see all my cabinets in the background. I
I
made
know
all
I
those.
I was looking at them going, that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And I mean that in all
Yeah.
sincerity.
They actually look better in person than they do when you're seeing them over the camera.
I don't
too.
know, those
Like,
look
the
pretty
colors
fucking
are.
good. I mean,
Oh man, you'd be amazed.
yeah,
I
no, I'm not. They look amazing, right there. By the way, I need you to fly out and make me some miniature cabinets. If you could hurry up and get on that, that'd be great.
My
I-
bookcases are waiting too.
Yeah. Oh, my bookcases. You see the wood right there? Look, I already got the wood cut. Wiki, I'm ready for you, buddy. Come on.
Yeah. You need them, man.
man,
Well,
I think it would cost you a lot more to fly out my wood shop to be able to do that.
see, now that's your problem.
I can't make
Okay,
things
look,
without
I'm just fronting the
tools.
airfare for you to get here. I thought maybe a sanding stick and a chisel is all the fuck you need to work your magic. Come on.
That is all I actually need, but I prefer to have tools, and
Yeah.
I've gotten
See,
lazy
now you're
in
just
my
being
old
a whiny
age.
bitch. Now you're just being
I
a whiny
am.
bitch.
What
I
can I
like that.
say?
I like the reminder, like I'm a woodworker, damn it, not a wizard.
Right? I don't just snap my fingers and poof. But yeah, I cut the plywood at work, on business hours. I was working very diligently. And I actually had my crew cut it so that it would be cut straight. Because if I cut it would look like a fucking snake.
Yeah, I see why your crew may have issues with you, John. I don't think it has anything to do with holding them accountable.
No, not at all. They say I'm a peach, rotten and worm-ridden peach, but still.
Yeah, like in that area of the country, a peach is not they're not describing you as a powerful man. They're describing you as a peach.
Right. Yeah. The director so I work for Enbridge, and then we outsource all of our material handling. So I have a crane operator and an iron worker, and then usually one other laborer that work directly under me, and I dictate what they do. And so I've been there coming up on 3 years, and it's so funny because the safety manager / account manager comes over and he goes, "You got a minute?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Let's go up to your office." So we go up to my office, and he sits down, and he goes, "I just want to know what the hell you do that these people are fighting to come work for you." I'm like, "I mean, I don't know. I asked them to do stuff, and they do it. I don't see the problem, And he goes, and then the following week, it's Friday. I bought a Blackstone. I don't know if you know what that is. A big grill, cast iron grill top, propane. Use it outside. It's amazing. And every Friday I had it at work because I didn't have a house to put it at, and you need to I lived up on the second story in a triplex house, so I couldn't have it outside. It would get stolen and all that other shit. So every Friday though, I take up a collection from all the guys, go get some groceries, and then at lunchtime we grill. On the Blackstone, we make pork chops. One time we made Philly cheesesteaks. I make smash burgers. We do all kinds of shit, tacos. And I'm like, I don't know why they're so excited to be here.
Yeah, I can't imagine it. Like every Friday at noon, it's like it's lunchtime. We ride. You know,
Yeah.
like they all converge on the grill. No, I don't know why anybody likes this guy.
Yeah, and in all fairness, though, I treat everybody, all joking aside, in all seriousness, I treat everybody with the same respect, and I don't ask them to do stuff that I know they can't do. And it's real simple. You do what is asked of you, and you get it done in a timely manner, and then good things happen. Like we leave early if all of our work is wrapped up. Why sit around for an hour with your thumb up your ass, twiddling your thumbs when there's nothing to do? You've already cleaned the shop.
That's
We've cleaned all our tools. Inventory is done. Go home. Put 8 hours on your
everybody's
time
there
card.
for
Go home.
everybody's there to work, and so
Right.
as long as everyone's working, the job gets done. You're good.
Yeah.
That's
And
that.
I ran my troops in the Army the same way, and I used to get so much grief from it from my first sergeant. You can't cut your guys loose at 3 o'clock on a Friday. Why? All our stuff is done. All our preventive maintenance is done. Everything's
Last
good to
I
go.
checked, there's not a regulation saying you can't.
Right, exactly.
I think you're probably underestimating the U.S. Army regulations.
I'm sure there was a regulation somewhere, but I took a lot of heat for it.
17-4, boys. 17-4. You get those troopers moving.
Yeah, paragraph A and B and Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that who else joined? Is that Steven?
No, that's
no, it's
Red.
Red. Long time no here, good sir. He's muted, but
Is that a bottle of Jägermeister in his picture?
it looks like
I
it, and a cup
think
of
it
coffee.
is.
Oh, cold brew. Cold brew.
Oh, it's cold brew.
Breakfast of Champions. Yeah, I had to go with the cold brew. They didn't have the regular stuff.
Oh. Well, sacrifices were made.
Well, the thing is, it's like
Jägermeister.
a double shot of espresso. It's cold brew Jaeger with coffee in a cup of hot coffee.
Oh my God.
Yeah, please. If you could just open a vein and put it right in, that would be even better.
In college, I was definitely, I would do some Jägermeister shots back in the day, and so when I go over to live in the Netherlands, and you're mixing it up with the other students as one is wont to do, and Jägermeister at some point somebody oh, okay, so. And they're looking at me like the native Dutch students are looking at like, what are you doing? Because there it's considered, like
Brandy.
stomach medicine. Yeah, no, you're feeling a little upset stomach, have a shot of Jägermeister and go to bed. To do. This was also in the early '90s, so the world was different back then. It was,
Yeah,
we
just
had
thinking,
buggy,
like, when I was
buggies.
younger and used to drink regularly, it wasn't a shot of Jägermeister. You just had the bottle, and
Pretty much.
But I don't think you considered
Yeah.
it. I don't think you considered it to be like medicine, right? You thought it was
No.
booze.
it was just booze.
Well,
It was-
remember, Bri, back in the Methuselah days, which you remember, Dr. Pepper was a medicinal, product.
All right, yeah. All that shit was like some sort
Coca-Cola,
of tonic.
yeah. It was
So was
started-
cocaine, my brother. So was cocaine.
Right, it's true. Little absence for you, keep you.
I
Can you imagine having been a doctor back then? It's just like, I'm going to need you to turn your head and cough. Hey, you're still coughing. That's good. Here's some crack cocaine and some amphetamines. Just take this and you'll feel better real quick.
Everything.
my
will be
players
fine.
love playing doctors and therapists in 1920s Call of Cthulhu America.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons is because of the fucked up medicines that you can give with all sincerity, knowing as a human being, like, this is crazy. Have a little laudanum with that, a little more opium. Take care of
Exactly.
your.
Well, hey, it's medicinal,
I'm gonna
so it's
need you
got to
to
be
take-
good.
And
my doctor prescribed it, so it's gotta be okay.
Real quick.
What was
I'm
that?
going to need you to take a teaspoon of radium. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Don't worry about. Oh, your hair fell out overnight. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
To say, so I've been on the RPG front. This will seem unrelated. I've been watching YouTube more. I'm a creature of a certain age, and so this whole video on demand thing is still new to me. And I've been watching Minnie's gaming stuff along with, some solo RPG. And the last couple of weeks, for some reason, I've watched a few, essentially either cop badge videos or the cop kind of camera video, or like Karen video, because YouTube decides what you'll watch. You think you're watching, Warhammer 40K, and the next minute, hey, guess what's playing? Like people behaving badly. And I have to say, as a GM, see, I'm coming around to it. As a GM, I have spent far too many decades of my life trying to build convincing, realistic NPCs who behave like rational human beings in encounters, because apparently the world is not like that. You should just have all your NPCs behave completely randomly like they're on fucking cocaine, because that's what the world seems to be like.
Well, YouTube is the only thing.
Those videos, yeah.
Yeah, YouTube is the only thing where you can go from watching, Mr. Mean Speaks, selfless plug, and then the next minute you're watching the mated habits of the Southeast Asian dragonfly. And then it goes to hot chicks on motorcycles, and you're like, what the yeah, it's bizarro.
So YouTube is not an accurate representation of humanity.
No, it's not.
It's not.
But it did drive the thought. It did drive the thought home in a way of like, man, I'm spending too much time. Like, wow.
Yeah, I'm working
These
way
people
too
don't behave
hard.
like rational human beings at all. I'm working way too hard.
Yeah.
Everybody was drunk in the medieval ages, right?
Yeah.
And no one lived.
According to
No one lived past 25 either. So,
well, they did, but the average lifespan was like 25, and that just means so many of them died when they were like 2.
All right. Yeah.
Right.
So, Red, what have you
we
been
got
up to,
the-
my friend? Because we haven't heard from you in a while.
Yeah, I've been doing the fishing thing. I just got home. I've been on the road for like 3 months.
Oh my God. Well, hopefully that's a good thing.
I was looking, money, y'all. You know.
Okay. Send some
But
my way, please.
Right, man. That's the thing. I'm on the road and I just barely got enough to pay my bills.
I hear you.
Bullshit.
Well, welcome back, man. I was starting to wonder about you because I hadn't seen you in the channel for a while, so I was wondering if you were still with us. So thank you for jumping on tonight. Of course, we got Wiki Snapper over there, the fine purveyor of wooden dice trays, and Project Sunflower.
Yeah, it's getting there.
And then, of course, the ignanable, if that's a word, Brian Isakoff, former host of 2D6 in a Random Direction, and
It's
published author.
it's not a word. I
That's
feel
okay.
like I'm on Hollywood Squares now,
That's
or some talk. I'll call it like, no, it's not a word.
I'll take.
I'm looking
you
up.
for
I'm
the
looking up
fluff.
at like the guy above me, like
Well, on my screen, I got Discord set up. I checked the stream. Everything looks like it's going fine on the stream. I should probably see if anybody wants to talk.
Dear God, humanity's being subjected to this.
Yes, I
Oh,
like to
yeah.
talk.
Nice.
I like to bring the torture to everybody. I don't think it's fair just that the meanies get the brunt of it. I think everybody deserves a little bit of the love. Oh, Tom Allison is in here. Tom says, "I need to fly down and fart in your new house." And then Chen from
Is that
Taiwan,
really necessary?
right? I'm going to say no.
I'll say if you invite him over, you know what you're going to get, though.
Right.
Right.
The expectation has been set. So, Wiki, why don't you give us the elevators? Because there's a couple of people in the chat listening. So, give us the elevator pitch for Sunflower, Project Sunflower.
So it's a post-apocalyptic game, and it uses its own game engine. It is a bit crunchy, but once you're playing, and it takes no time to get used to the game and start playing it around the table, like it's really fast. In a lot of ways, it plays almost like a tactical skirmish game when you're in combat, but the game engine itself allows for a whole lot more role playing and stuff too. The apocalypse in it is an overgrown apocalypse, so instead of the game being like Mad Max where everything's dry and desert and fucking boring, it's like an absolutely overgrown lush jungles. Plants are taking over all the buildings. It actually rains in the apocalypse because holy crap weather.
Oh, that's sweet. That's
Oh, no,
sweet. I gotta say that sounds great as opposed to the normal or the dystopian kind of concrete, like lush jungle apocalypse. Nice.
Yeah, the only
Um,
problem with this one is the fucking mushrooms will try to eat you.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Everything
Well,
is trying to eat you.
only
Yeah, no.
fair, right? Like,
Right.
So the idea is that there's there's this I'm going to use the term lichen, which is like a fungus
Lichen?
and lichen.
Like,
Yeah. So it's like a fungus plant, and so people engineer it to make oil because we're a bunch of crackheads for oil in society.
Aren't we all?
And yeah, so people engineer this, but we don't like put in any. We don't engineer natural predators to it because we figure, oh yeah, well, our need for oil is going to outpace anything a natural predator would need anyways, which is illogical. Like that's that you can see people doing that. So then that shit just spreads like everywhere, and it starts taking over like our crops and our forests and everything, and that becomes a problem. Um, so then supposedly people then created a virus that makes it so it mutates and dies from like cancerous mutations, and then the virus also is supposed to make it so animals can eat it. Like it'll infect the animal, and then the animal can process that plant. But then everything goes haywire because it wouldn't be much of a game engine or a game story if there wasn't chaos and havoc. And so then it becomes a cross kingdom mutagen, and it turns everything into monsters.
Yeah, it goes bad, very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And when
all
I
I
say
can think of is that Stephen King from Creepshow. There's the
Yeah.
short story.
Yeah.
You know, the Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill starring Stephen King. Oh, it's meteor shit. And then the final scene, he's all mossy and overgrown.
Yeah. Tell
Kind of like that.
Wiki, tell them about the dice mechanic because it's pretty cool, actually.
there's quite a few different. I've got 4 different types of checks in the game. So the first one is a really simple. You just roll under your attribute or under your success chance, and you succeed. The
Easy
second
peasy.
one, what's that?
Easy peasy.
Yeah, easy peasy. The second one relies on your attributes having a bracket system. So you have a lower bracket and an upper bracket, and they're based off of your attribute score. And so if you're rolling on something, it will line up. It'll either line up inside of your, or if it's below your brackets, you don't roll on it at all. It doesn't take an action. It's just something your character can do. Like I don't need to roll to pick up my coffee cup because it's a coffee cup. The second, if it's absolutely above your bracket, then there's no way you can do it. It's like there's no way I am picking up my Volkswagen Beetle. It's just not happening. There's no amount of adrenaline that's going to make that something I can do. But there are things that line up inside of your brackets. So if the check number is in between your brackets, you roll under your attribute to succeed at it. And that's because like it's on the edge of what your character is able to do. And the reason for that whole system with the brackets is because like forever ago I was playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I just couldn't stand the fact that the fighter would fail to bend the bars, and then the wizard would come up and roll better, and then all of a sudden the wizard could bend the bars, and it's like the fighter has an 18 double-out strength and fails to bend the bars, but the fighter can do it? What the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. So I have a bracket system in Project Sunflower that allows for characters to be able to kind of to auto succeed on things that are easy for them, and to auto fail on things that they can't do. But then if you roll under your modifier, you get a point in your attribute, and so that's kind of fun too. So that's part of the character progression. The next type of check, or the next dice mechanic in the game, let's say you have 5 dice in your dice pool, and the game master might have 2 dice, or a 2-die check as I call it. The game master will roll, say, a 6 and a 10, and your job is to use your 5 dice to match the 6 and the 10 that the game master rolled. And this is kind of like it represents things like picking a lock, where you have all the little tumblers inside of a lock, and this kind of represents the tumblers, if you will. And so on your first turn, you might roll and you might get that 10 knocked out of there with your own 10. And then on the next, and that's all you get. So, you had 5 dice. And so on the next turn, you're only rolling 4 dice because one of your dice is kind of currently locked into that 10 spot. And so then you roll, and you're hoping to get a 6 in this case. And let's say you roll a 1, a 3, a 9, and another 10. Your 10s act as a wild card, so it allows it to knock out that 6. And that one's a lot of fun because you can do that over multiple turns. The complex checks, they take your movement and your normal action. The game has an action economy of you can move, or you can do things, or you can move and do a small thing, or you can just do a big thing, or you can move twice. It's kind of a simple, kind of an old school in that regard.
Yeah. The other super cool thing is Wiki did all the art himself. So,
Yeah.
and the layout and the design. I mean, this is self-produced, right? There's
It's
nobody
everything. I get help from people in the way of asking for advice, asking people if they like it. My brother is probably the best art critic I've ever met because he's absolutely willing to tell me, no, that looks fucked up, do it again. And it takes a level of, when I was younger, that used to bother me to no end, but now I'm like, if I want to do something that's really good, I need people around me that are willing to cut me down, and so that's where I'm at with that.
Yep.
So I do have, I ask for a lot of opinions. But
and
then
the game's not out yet, right? It's I think
No,
it's on
it's not.
patch 7.0 or something like that.
Yeah,
Version 7.
it's on beta, closed beta, if you will. It's 0.07.
Right. And you
I think.
gave some of the meanies and the other, for those that don't know that are watching on YouTube, maybe at a later date, the Mr. Mean Speaks Discord, we have quite a following of publishers and people who have been published. Wiki's one of them. Brian's one of them. And the cool part is that Wiki sent that his manuscript out to a bunch of different people to have them critique it and help. So it's been really cool. I've loved because I got a very early draft of it, if I remember correctly. Like it had no
Yeah.
art; it was just like words, and it was pretty cool. I really love the world. It's definitely, I mean, the greatest compliment I can give it is it reminds me of the Last of Us video game. So and I think that's
I
a
actually
good compliment.
started working on this before The Last of Us came out,
Right.
and when it came out, I was like, "Oh man,
You
somebody beat
dick!
me to the punch. This is bullshit."
But I say that as a compliment, though. I think I mean, because you don't have clickers or clackers. I don't play the game, but I've watched some of
Nah.
the art for it and stuff.
I've got ferals in Project Sunflower, which are people that get infected. But the
Creepy
idea
shit,
behind
by the way.
when a person gets infected, they might still be able to use a gun, but they don't really keep the mentality needed to unjam the weapon.
Right.
So they can still shoot it, but there's something's not quite there. They're no longer people anymore. And so at a certain point, your ferals, instead of shooting at you with the gun, they just start hitting you with the gun because it's not shooting anymore.
It's a hard club.
No bullet.
What's that?
No bullets, so now it's a club.
That's it.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with that. So, I mean, when do you think, are you going to go to Kickstarter with it? Are you going to go direct to publish? Or are you going to go through drive-through? Do you know? I mean, I'm putting you on the spot here, and tell me to F off if you want, but
So, like in the ideal, like dream fantasy situation, somebody else will publish this for me, so I don't have to go through all that shit. But realistically, I'm probably, once I figure out a place to print it through, then I'll probably wind up having to go to Kickstarter just to be able to afford the books.
and don't forget, Stephen Turner said that he would be willing to help with that as well, with the publishing. So
Yeah.
Stephen is Britannia Games or Chivalry and Sorcery, and he's a huge boon to the channel and a super nice guy.
Honestly, like I said, in the dream world, I would just hand the whole thing over to him and have all of that side of things
And you might
happen.
be able to
and
do that. Another one
and
to
I
look
might
at is
need to talk to
Modifius.
him about that still, but
Yeah.
um,
Modifius
mostly
would be
because
another one.
like my favorite thing about making games is actually just sitting around and figuring out how to get the math to work.
Right.
Like I love making it, like making sure that all of my dice mechanics are working. I love making sure that the weapons have absolutely awesome balanced damage.
Right. You're all about
and
game
not
design.
balanced.
The publishing is, you want to leave that up to somebody else.
I'm all
Totally
about,
get it.
and believe it or not, I don't even like doing the art so much.
Yeah, but you're
Like
good
I'm
at it.
good at it. I'm good at it.
Yeah, sure, but then it
I went
becomes
to
a
college
chore.
to do game design and or game art and design, and so I've got a lot of formal education in the art. But my ideal place is sitting behind a spreadsheet, to be
Cool.
totally honest.
All right. Well, now I gotta kick it over to Mr. Isaacoff and figure out what have you been up to in the game. Are you doing any kind of game design right now, Bri? Are you working with anybody?
No, not at the moment. Although I'm interested in it again, so that's fun. I think the last thing I did was for um, Feral Games did a book of heists.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to. I did wrote a short heist for that book. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, more of my writing is done on the nonfiction kind of professional side, not of games, but you know, I've thought of some some interesting stuff. One of the ideas that I get from time to time for a campaign is like like adapting some kind of, this will sound weird, but great literature, but turning it into a great campaign. Like Macbeth always comes up for me. How do you turn Macbeth, which most American school children wind up knowing one way or another, but turn it into like a super creepy cool campaign or something. It's just like one idea, especially since like that copyright on that is pretty well expired, I think.
Right.
Oh yeah. Have you considered Moby Dick?
Oh, yeah, man. Get to take the party out and hunt for the Leviathan.
Yeah,
Take it a step farther, do that in the Spelljammer setting with the space whales.
That's a great idea. The funny thing is, I've done that, but I think the key to any kind of, and I'm not deep literature guy, so I could be completely wrong, but at least some of the themes from Moby Dick are, you've got to turn the players into Ahab, and I guess Ishmael, but and like, so I've done that successfully where I've introduced, and in one great case, allowed them to introduce a new villain. And once the villain struck and survived, the party was like 75% about, we are pursuing this guy to the ends of the earth no matter what happens. Like, we're not going to take this. Like, and you've been cooking, the great part as a GM for me was like, you've been cooking this, this was a random turn of events with, like your own little dabbling on the side. You've got one of those necromancers and like, but I find kind of, it's funny, like that Moby Dick, getting that obsession. That's really the benefit of having a villain who legitimately survives first deadly contact with the PCs, or it's able to send a representative. Like there's a different ways to do it, but that makes that moment. Otherwise, like they can see the Ahab, they're going to want to see, but like if you want to see some really nutty Ahab behavior from your players, let them have let them have an encounter with because it gets under the skin of players.
Ooh.
Like it gets, it's like the whale. It's like no, you don't. We're the part of it is by design, right? Like you're always the hero in your own story, right? Each of us, that's kind of human nature. PCs are there for the adventure and story. It's about them, not the dude who got away.
Oh man, I've been the game master so long that I just look at it and I'm like, I'm actually the villain in my story. Nobody realizes it, but I am.
That's just one of the keys to good game mastering. You gotta do that.
Well, I think tough but fair, which is also supposedly my reputation among software vendors, which is just fine by me. But like, I'm not very good at being an adversarial GM. It doesn't work for me. I get my job is I'm there to monkey wrench the players' plans, which is tough, right? So I'm there to make their days difficult and help cause interesting things to happen. So from that perspective, yeah. But I like to be a fan of the player characters. Like
I'm totally
doing
a
it
fan
for
of
the
the
interest
players.
of watching them like do their thing.
Well, see,
that's
that's why
awesome.
I'm the villain in my story, is because the bad guy has to lose. And I'm all about the players winning. But I run, the way I run it is I like to just run a world, and then I'm the chaos agent. So when the players have a plan, I think about it and I go, why would this plan fail? All right, well, if this plan's going to fail, if the roof falls in, then the roof needs to fall in, because that's what's going to make the story better.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, that's part. If everything went their way and they got what they wanted, like they wouldn't enjoy it for one thing, not really,
Right.
and two, it's just not it's not an interesting story at all.
Right. Well, and as someone who's gamed with Brian for close to 20 years, I when he says he's not an adversarial GM, he's a fan of the players. It is so true. Um, he ran Everyday Heroes. It's well known on the channel, I am not a D20 fan of, 5th edition. I'll play it. I've played in a couple of games. I've GM'd it. I own several of the books, which recently I sold a whole bunch because I was moving. But I can tell you, from someone who's not a fan of 5th edition, I went after playing the game with Brian. I went out and bought the book. So, and it's really well done. I mean, are there things that could be improved? Sure, there's no perfect game, but I will say that Brian, being a fan of the players, and in Dungeon World, there's a thing where they say yes, and it's been published in a couple of other games, and Monty Cook or Matt Colville. And
I coined it and sell a freaking T-shirt that says "Consider yes." Back from the podcast days,
right?
Yeah,
And Brian is a big fan of, sure, you can do that. There may be repercussions, but you can do that. Like in our what game was it, Brian? Was it Everyday? No, it was Heroes and Hardship.
Have enough rope on themselves.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
Heroes and Hardships. I had the bright idea of loading the escape pod with a whole bunch of explosives and sending it back to the bad guys. And Brian's like, sure, why not? Let's do it. Let's see what happens. And it was so much fun and everybody had a blast. So, like me, I consider myself more of an adversarial GM. I'm out to kill the players. That's my job. My job is to make it tough for you. I want to tell a good story. I want you to have fun. But that style of GMing is not for everybody. And I know that, and so I try to temper it a little bit. But I think at the end of the day, if everybody's having fun, that's all that matters. And Brian does, not to toot his own horn or that he's, the closest thing to a brother I have left alive. He's really, really good at that. If you get a chance to play in a game with him, I highly recommend it because he's an outstanding GM and all around good person. While I am an asshole and we all know that, but
no shucks.
Oh shucks! Now shut up.
I also, in terms of what I'm reading, I'm also reading. I will not say the source. I cannot reveal my connections deep into the web that is the RPG community, but I have somehow managed to acquire early a copy of Candela Obscura, which streets from Darrington on the 14th of this month through
Oh man.
through a combination of I mean, obviously it was arcane chicanery on my part. And any Pinkertons who find themselves loitering on my porch will find themselves very, very unfortunate as well. But
Damn revenue.
What I will say is it's a very pretty book. So it's investigative horror in a non-Earth, like not Earth,
Right.
steampunky 1902 or so, I think.
Yeah.
And the art style has a lot of Art Nouveau, which is nifty. You don't see a lot of it, but it's also easy to source in things like clip art. Like I've got a couple books of like Art Nouveau, frames and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's I think
Look at any
it's
turn
a
of the
fun
century.
period to pull off.
Yeah, look at
Yeah.
any turn of the century art, and even black and white photos would be awesome from that.
I
But
love
it's-
that setting.
Yeah,
I really
and there
do.
is I believe there's one. I know there's one. There's possibly 2 live plays with the crew from Critical Role because it's their game. They designed it. But it does use it's not a Powered by the Apocalypse, but it's very similar system.
Now it is in that you assemble a small dice pool
Mhm.
and you're going to roll a number of dice, and so you're getting the highest. The highest result is the one you want to report to the GM. So it's kind of like hits with miss, hit with complication, or success. And then if you get multiple sixes, you get a critical success. But I gotta say, for all the games that I've read of Powered by the Apocalypse or Forged in the Dark, which is the other big influence on the rule system, this did not read. Now I've only kind of skimmed it once, right? So I'll leave myself that cheat. But this did not read like a Powered by the Apocalypse or a Blade. Like I found this to be kind of straightforward, like adventure game-ish. It's got scars, so it's current.
It's got elements
In terms of
those
kind of like
games.
technology. Yeah, it's a part of the not Earth thing is to make sure that you've got an environment, or in Starfleet engineering we like to say a test bed, that's where they've eliminated, so hey, we don't have institutionalized racism and sexism and gender hate and those types of things. So that I think that can help make things more palatable, especially to a wider range of players, especially turn of the century for the to the early 1900s wasn't especially a great time for everybody. But it looks pretty swanky, and it didn't. Sometimes I will bounce off of a Powered by the Apocalypse game, not necessarily I think through any fault of the game, but just like that. This one. No, it was a good read. It felt, since I've got a couple new Osprey books, it felt very like Osprey, nicely produced, nice and tight. I think it's in the 200 page, kind of digesty with a book ribbon. It's a nice mix of rules and setting and some sample cases. And so I thought it was a nice title. I don't think it'll replace D&D 5e because. Or it won't replace D&D. Let me say that, but it's an interesting book.
And remember, they announced it and it was ready to come out shortly after the whole OGL debacle, and there's been a lot of talk and and stuff on Critical Role, separating from WotC, so whether that's true or not, none of us know except the people that are friends with them and or WotC, but it sure does seem like they are trying to distance themselves and come out with their own games. And they come out with 1 or 2 board games now, or really quick beer and pretzel games that look a lot of fun, to be honest. What is it, Okatoa or whatever, is a little beer and pretzel game they have where your minions on a raft and you're basically screwing your buddy over, but it looks like a fun little beer and pretzel game. And then of course Candela Obscura, and then they're working on several other projects. So, and I think rumor is that this is the last season for D&D Critical Role that it will be moving forward to their new fantasy game, which is not Candela Obscura. Say again?
It's a great brand.
Hold on. Two people
Because
talking. I can't hear.
Because by doing this, by Critical Role establishing their own IP, their own game, gonna go their own way, make their own dollars. What's WotC gonna do? Being the corporate hell beast that it is, it's an IP I need to acquire.
Yeah.
Like Games Workshop and blah, blah, blah.
I don't think that'll be the
Yeah.
essence. I mean, WotC has enough on its hands, and they've made so much money off
That
of
they
Critical
can't
Role
handle.
and vice versa. I think it's a smart move for Critical Role to move. They may still keep doing 5th edition or 6th edition, whatever the new D&D is going to be. They may keep doing both, and good for them if they do. They have a huge fan base, so. I mean, I have I bought one of their big furry towels.
Is that once they take and establish this Candle Obscura and start coming out with content and stuff like this, it's like, that's something that, their former masters will probably be interested in acquiring. And
yeah, well,
I don't think.
Well, that depends. Part of negotiations and part of securing that requires a willing party. For the right amount of money, maybe not. I don't know it'll ever be big enough. I mean, they're counting on the Critical Role spotlight to help, and we'll see. It's it's a tough thing. It's like D&D is the 800-pound gorilla and will be for the foreseeable future. Personally, me, I haven't bought a WotC product since the shenanigans.
Same.
I can't. If I were building a platform, I would not advise. I would not. Let me not make it about advising others. I would not select a platform that's owned by somebody who's displayed what I would consider to be corporate bad faith and malfeasance and seems to have institutionalized it. Like I have lived with those contracts for far too many years of my life in the corporate setting, and I know what it's like to be waiting every day for the thing that you don't expect, where they're going to, like, maybe it'll never happen. The problem is it's the big brand name. So if you choose not to associate with it, you have an uphill climb. If I were to be climbing that hill, and it was be my company, my dime, I wouldn't climb the 5e. I wouldn't climb the WotC hill because I'm a negotiator. I can't count on someone who's shown that they're going to use a contract like to disenfranchise me.
Yeah.
Just can't, if you do, you go in and so it's a tough spot.
The biggest fear as far as the OGL, it's like there's so many people that have, for lack of a better word, D&D clones. If you use those 6 stats, strength, dex, intelligence, it all comes back to dungeons. Honestly, there's for a lot of games, just for the stump math for character generation, it's
if you're using the OGL in any way, shape, or form.
It's so generic and so ubiquitous to so many games because it covers everything.
Yeah.
I might be old about this, but I think that every D20 game is just like every other D20 game. I mean, if it's got a D20 or if it's using the 7 dice and it's like, well, yeah, of course a short sword does a D6.
Right.
I mean,
that's one way.
The rolls are all made with a D20. None of them are that much different. So I kind of feel like who needs to have one of, I don't even need to have the books for any of those systems. I could run that I think those books are for the players one way or the other, and that's my own take on that.
I mean, one of the things that I think a lot of people tend to forget, because I've been seeing some grousing all around the web about 6th edition or 5.5, whatever they want to call it now, or whatever the new D&D is. The major
one D&D?
Yeah, one D&D. And then, of course, with Paizo doing, 2.1 or whatever you want to call it, revised Pathfinder. One of the things that people, and I think Brian will back me on this is a publishing company. They make money by making books, by putting content out, and it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, everybody got to work,
right?
Everybody got to work,
and everybody bitches about, when's the next book gonna come out? But yet they bitch about the cost of having to buy a new book. I mean, yeah, money's tight everywhere. I mean, I get it, but And the publishers are, raising their costs. WotC's raised the cost of its books. Paizo finally, announced a second wave of price increases on their PDFs. They didn't raise them the first go round, which was, I think, right after the OGL or right before it. But now the PDFs are going up, and people are squawking about the price. But what a lot of people forget about is how much profit these companies lose from pirating, and you think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's a PDF, but you're taking money out, right or wrong, whatever your stance is on sharing PDFs. At the end of the day, you're taking money out of somebody's mouth if you're uploading that PDF. Do we share PDFs? Sure. But a lot of times we all do. There's platforms like, what is it, One D&D or whatever, the D&D Beyond. And then I think Paizo has Nexus, where you got to rebuy all these books. And of course, you can't use them in any other environment. And they're selling the cost of the PDF for damn near the cost of a full book. And, I
Yeah.
don't support any of those platforms because I think it's a crock of shit. But I get why they're doing it. And just because I don't support it doesn't make it less viable of a platform. It's just not one that I'm going to support. I'm really applauding Paizo because they're pushing Nexus, but Nexus isn't even a true VTT, at least not yet. But it's working on it, and of course you got to rebuy all the PDFs if you want to use them on Nexus. They're expensive, and if you've already paid, like I was on the Pathfinder subscription program, so when a new book came out, I automatically got the PDF because I was buying it directly from Paizo.
That's pretty clever.
Say again?
When I'm buying books, I tend
That's pretty clever
to
with the subscription. It's like if you buy into the system or whatnot, when the new info comes up, oh, it's Unearthed Arcana 12. It's like here you go for being a founder.
when I'm running games, like I run games in person usually, and so if I find a game that I like, I almost always buy like 6 copies of the book because I don't want to share my book and I don't want to wait on players when they're looking shit up. So I guess I'm a little bit more forgiving when there are companies like you got to buy this more than once, but I also understand, like, I feel like I share a book at my table. I'm probably gonna, sharing a PDF on a VTT is that different with your friends. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't really play a whole lot of VTT stuff because
You have a gaming group, yeah. But like I don't.
I have a gaming group. I got a table. I mean, that's
Right.
yeah.
See, well, I'm working on it.
The dog in the background.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's a goober.
Hey, at least he's
He's the
not
best
licking his
dog.
balls on screen. That's awesome.
Lance
He doesn't
started
have any
along
of
the
those. He
floor.
can't do that.
Well,
I
give
mean,
me a
my
minute.
thing
I'm
with
sure
the-
I will. So,
My thing, just to be clear on the D&D, is I've run a lot of 5e. I never thought I would, and then I started running it, years ago, and I actually really like the rule set. I've gotten a lot of value out of it. I don't have a problem with the rules, and I also don't have a problem with the fact that there's ultimately going to be like another edition of it, right? Like, but if folks produce a quality book, with good ideas or stuff, like I'm interested. Like I'm interested in making that exchange. Like, but like it's the which just makes me most upset. It's not the product; it's the corporate antics that bother me. And so that's the stuff. If it wasn't for that, yeah, I'd have picked up. I love Planescape. I'd have picked up the new Planescape box. I'd be looking at one.
Mhm.
I'd be interested, and I have bought digital versions of the books to provide to my players through D&D Beyond and Roll20. Like some of that I get. I wish things were more affordable, but on the other hand, like every creative who I've ever heard about who runs into a medical situation needs to go fund me, right? Like, so it's not like they have fancy cush corporate jobs that are taking care of them, as if the fancy corporate cush jobs took care of anybody anymore. So I'm up for the exchange for quality. I think it's a shame when kind of in this case, like almost non-gaming nonsense, except for the license, I would say, is like applicable to the publication, the publishing business. It, sours the product. It's one of the worst reasons to have to lose a customer who's otherwise going to stay on your gravy train. Like I tell this, folks in software, like, don't give your customers a reason to consider going somewhere else. Like, don't hand them a wacky price increase with no, like stuff. Don't rock the boat for no good reason. And,
Right.
and big profit cash grab is the worst freaking reason to rock the boat.
Yeah, but I will say with the whole OGL debacle, the uproar, the community was in uproar. WotC sales are back up. Gamers are gamers. They want the latest book.
Truck was born every
It is
minute.
the doom. It is the doom of man to forget, as Tolkien once said. We just thought it would take a lifetime. It takes 3 days in a new module.
Right. The moment the new
What?
book comes out, oh my God! I thought you said you weren't buying.
WotC's going to shoot themselves in the foot with their new content. They're making the thing that's going to 90% of the people that play 5th edition D&D are happy with 5th edition D&D, or they wouldn't be playing 5th edition
Right.
D&D. And so they're coming out with a new edition of D&D, and I get that they got to keep making books to stay alive. Like, they got to make content for people to buy content, but by coming out with a new system, they're really just saying they're splitting their fan base. This is the same thing that happened every time a company's made a new system, aside from Pathfinder coming out, ever.
It's not like software. It's almost like a soft, like if when you release a new version of an application where you've got customers, like you've got to service the old one to a point, but at a certain point you generally turn them off because because nobody wants to stay on the old one. Yeah, you can't run it. Whereas role-playing games, that's analog technology is entirely different, right?
They don't understand that. They're all run by a bunch of Microsoft people. I mean, more power to them. It's cool, but it's not how the world works.
If they could, but hey, I wonder to what extent somebody there isn't thinking if we could get X% of our fan base to the new version, and it's digitally supported to the point where you really don't play you don't play this D&D 1, we'll call it, outside of, like, even if you play in person, you still need a tablet because your character sheet and rules implementation, then they're on the software gravy train.
Well, and that's the way they're going. The new 1D&D or whatever it's called is literally going to be a video game. You're going to have a high-end tablet or a high-end computer, and it's going to render. They're taking, they want to. And I'm just saying, this is the rumor out there in the interwebs, is that they want to shut down the miniatures producers. They don't want people 3D printing. They see that as a problem. And, you're going to have to install this software, as you said, and in order to play D&D, it's all going to be virtual based.
They don't realize how much market they make purely by having people that have so much passion for their project that they do those things like make miniatures or buy miniatures and paint miniatures. They don't realize how much they're going to lose when they lose that.
Here's the thing: there's the rabid
there are people that play D&D because they like the miniatures.
Really? Here's what I think they maybe should do.
Like with Fallout 4, the whole the settlement building and the crafting that they used in Fallout 4 to such great acclaim, that was a mod for Fallout New Vegas.
Right.
That fans have made on their own time and their own dime. And
and here's the thing.
Was like, thanks.
I wonder.
Thanks for doing the work for us.
I wonder to what extent I agree with I agree with WikiSnapper. I agree with you in terms of kind of the market, but I wonder to what extent they're looking at maybe the younger end of the market, and they're saying, "Look, that's you old guys in your 50s. If we can get people as they come into gaming to come into D&D 1." And they don't ever experience the miniature, and they'll be able to make their miniature an avatar. They'll be able to do their mining and crafting, but in 10 years, the people who started at D&D with that system won't know older D&D. And for all the OSR guys who are probably snickering, going up to and including 5e, right? Like that, might be their play, is that they just focus on building that market back, with the idea that the people who are into kind of the traditional D&D are going to age out.
Oh, I think that's
I'm
exactly
making
where
this-
they're
I'm making
going.
this
It's
up,
all
by the way.
software, and they're going to sell you. And they even in the little marketing video they did, one of the things they said, which had people's heads spinning. The grognards like us here. Your character is a tiefling and you're a warlock and but now you found a +2 sword, flaming longsword. Well, that's going to be a loot box. Basically, you're going to have to pay. That's a microtransaction.
I won't run a game where that. I wouldn't. I would not run a
no
game
way.
like
Yeah,
that.
you wouldn't,
I
but
will not run a game
the
that's got money in it
16-year-old
because
version of you that has his nose plugged in his phone all day, or his tablet all day, or is plugged in at school all day is going to. That's the problem.
I think I was 30 before I ever paid for the internet because I thought a subscription to the internet was stupid. But that's me. I'm old.
Right.
I think I'm missing. I think I need to. John, this is a lovely +2 longsword that your character's won here. Like I can let you use it for this session. If you'd like to add it to your character sheet, I'm going to need a check. I take PayPal.
Yeah.
You can buy me a Ko-Fi. I'll take a little coffee.
All right, real quick, let me give a shout out to Miguel Warlock Patreon. He's in the chat. He's a longtime supporter of the channel, and he's also going through some. He says he's going through some medical costs, and so he's got a lot of stuff for sale on eBay. Miguel, if you can hit the YouTube stream and put a link to your eBay store, hopefully people will be able to see your goods. He has a ton of really cool role-playing stuff, watches, all kinds of cool stuff. So if you're able to help a fellow gamer out with some of his medical expenses, that would be really cool. And everyone's audio is amazing. Well, thanks, Miguel. You're amazing. Yeah, and then
Right.
it looks like Mr.
Watch yourself. Starfleet intelligence in the room.
Yeah, I see that. Well, it looks like we lost Red. I hope Red's okay. He might
I kept talking over him. I'm sorry. I apologize to all you guys. I'm awful sometimes.
Yeah. It's okay. But and then real quick, give a plug to the channel. If you're new here, Mr. Mean Speaks is a YouTube channel that supports ongoing RPGs. Creative people like WikiSnapper here working on his project Sunflower. Mr. Isaacoff, who is an amazing GM and runs a lot of cool games on our channel as well as his own channel, I believe, his Discord channel. We have a thriving community in Discord as well as YouTube. So like and subscribe as always. We have a Patreon. It's $5 a month. Gets you access to some drawings that I do on the channel. And then maybe even I might be able to convince WikiSnapper to give me a copy to raffle off to the Patreons there. So as always, the awesome, very goatee Stephen O is in the house. His mic is muted. But at least he's wearing a shirt this time, so I'm thankful. And I'm hoping I've been absent from the web because I've been moving. This is my basement. I moved houses. We finally bought a house here in lovely Duluth, Minnesota. And, yeah, whoop whoop. Of course, the heater blew up last night, so we have no heat. So I've already blown a fuse once tonight by running too many heaters. But
make sure those are direct to the outlet. No extension cords, right. Power strips.
Right.
You know that, but public service announcement. Never do that.
With surge protectors on them, just because I have so many computers. I probably have more computers than NORAD, but that's not saying much. I don't even know how many Macs I have. In fact, I have so many Macs. I donated a Mac to charity the other day.
Wait a minute. You said you had computers.
Well, real computers, Macintoshes.
More than NORAD.
Yes, definitely more than NORAD, because they know that they would not want to.
Well, they're not smart enough to use Mac.
NORAD runs off of a single iMac now, and it's one of the big. It's like one of the original iMacs, but it's big.
But it's big. Yeah. It's the coffee table iMac.
It's my old one.
It's
that's the truth.
So yeah, as always, like and subscribe. Remember, Mr. Mean says, be nice. And we'll go back to Stephen O. What's going on with you, brother?
Well, I just saw you guys were chilling in here, and we just got done watching what's the new Frasier, the latest episode of the new Frasier show. So, and
throwing the gauntlet.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't know.
The
if it-
wife spent all day at her craft show. She and the daughters have a whole bunch of things to sell. My wife's craft room is becoming more of an assembly line. She can now do tumblers and some other things, and her Cricut machine is just overworked like crazy.
That's awesome. She's also, and we haven't done anything
Not yet.
not yet, but she did make me some cool samples. I got a cool Mr. Mean Speaks t-shirt with a nice logo over the breast. It's a white t-shirt, very nice t-shirt, by the way, with the Mr. Mean logo. She's also got coffee cups. Uh, I think she said she was going to work on.
We can do stickers,
Yeah.
keychains, mouse pads.
Yeah,
We haven't
that's
done a
it,
mouse.
mouse pad.
She hasn't done a mouse pad yet.
Yeah. Coffee cup is amazing. It's a nice mug. So
Yeah.
we're gonna get some samples, take some shots, and then I'll put them up on the channel. And then you guys, I think the way we've talked about it is, I'm not gonna make any money off it. It's really not about that. It's just to support the channel. So Mrs. Stephen O is gonna make them. She's gonna keep all the profits. So because I don't foresee like
We'll
800.
we'll try to keep it low so a coffee cup does not cost $25.
Yeah.
And since she's now got what they call a sublimation printer, she can actually use the right ink to do the coffee mugs so they can go in the dishwasher instead of being an overlay where they're not dishwasher safe.
Yeah.
Now the tumblers themselves, I don't know. Tumblers are just the elongated ones with a straw and stuff in them. They can't go in the dishwasher, but if anybody puts them in the dishwasher, they're not intelligent enough to have a tumbler.
Right. And then we want to give a shout out. Earl of Fife Games is in the YouTube chat. So a big howdy hoo to him. He makes an awesome game called Heroes and Hardships. If you haven't checked it out, please go use my affiliate link. It'll be in the video description or look at one of my other videos.
Fun game.
Awesome
Fun
game.
game.
If you like Legends of the Five Rings with the D10 dice pool, this is the game where you can do samurai in space, ninjas, superheroes, sci-fi. We took the alternative setting that Brian ran and we ran it in Heroes and Hardships, and I have to say it was a lot of fun. We also did a fantasy setting. So yeah, it's a very generic system that has a lot of character creations. Actually, I say fun. A lot of choices, but it kind of works out.
Not that tough. I
No.
found the layout. The layout I find a little tough to navigate, but that's like such a subjective thing.
Right.
I whipped up when I was making characters for it. I whipped up a quick spreadsheet, which is like I think in spreadsheets. So I just whipped up a quick spreadsheet, a couple quick columns to total. I mean, I could have done it on a piece of paper. I think I started my first one that way. And, oh, nice. And then. Belting out characters was a piece of cake from there.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Hey, Red One's back. Well, oh my gosh, you got them printed. Did you
Old
print?
digest style.
Did you print those yourself, Stephen, or did you?
Oh no. I did the doxy out of England. I got 2 players' handbooks, a monster compendium, a reference guide, and then the Dusky Dragon Inn. But I got 2 players' handbooks because if I ever do a con or a game thing or something like that, it's always better to have a couple players' handbooks instead of one.
Yeah, I was just saying that. Yeah,
yeah.
And it was only
Wiki was just talking about that.
You were,
and it was only like an extra $10 to go along with all of it. So
make sure you put a link in the chat for who you used and everything, because that's one I would like to run it and or play. Well, I think are you still going to run your game?
Yep, I was just waiting for you to get moved.
I moved. I wouldn't say I'm set up yet because, well, the room is a pigsty, but I'm getting there. I do want to give a shout out to Angus over at Parallel Publishing because he just came out with Mirror Side. So if you like spooky horror games, I mean,
Great cover.
an
Great
amazing
cover.
cover. The
That
art
game
in
is
here,
gorgeous, but it is creepy as hell. I
oh
can't
my
run
God,
that. It is too
it
much for
is.
me, and I like a horror game, but it
I
is
know,
like,
right?
whoa.
I mean,
I,
look, I
it's
mean,
too,
let me see. Can I
I
get?
didn't get it because of that. Because I like horror, but not like it's too much. And then I got that 5e Heckna Carnival of evil and weirdness box set that I had backed, and I'm like, yeah, this would be a perfect supplement, I think, for
I
Mirror. Jeez.
I like horror, but I like a horror action game, and that one is like horror.
Yeah,
And
it is.
that,
This is not for
yeah.
the faint of heart, but I will say, if you are, I'm not a horror fan. I don't even like Call of Cthulhu, to be honest. Um, but I will say, after giving this a read, it is very snazzy, and he's got an adventure out for it already, and it's up
The
on
White
Drive Through.
House.
The White
It's
House.
it's freaking awesome to
Yeah, it
read
is
through.
spooky.
I don't know that
and-
I'd want to run it
Right. I
because
think
I
you got to
I
run it
wouldn't
for
want
the
to put my
right crew.
players in that situation.
Yeah,
It's awesome
But
though.
yeah, I mean,
It's
Angus.
like giving everybody some RPG PTSD, you know?
Exactly.
No, it's a good. It's good if you're into horror. That
Yeah,
is
this
the game.
I would say even more. Call of Cthulhu is very established. I think this gives it a good run because this is very modern day, and it is whatever boogeyman you want. I think Cult is kind of in that same category, but Cult deals with a lot of themes and stuff that I'm not down with. But this is really
Midsummer.
spooky. This if you're
I'm-
into horror, if you love Call of Cthulhu or Cult, do yourself a favor, pick this bad boy up because it's gonna rock your
Oh, yeah.
socks. And what was the name of the White House? Right, the adventure he just put out.
Yeah, the White
Oh my
House.
God, that is creepy
White
as
is spelled WY.
No, it's WHYTE, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
And
something
then
like
this
that.
came in the mail. This is from Troll Lord Games. This is Castle Zagyeg,
From the-
whatever you say.
From the dawn of gaming.
Right. And oh my God, is
the
it so
castle.
good, guys? I'm so glad I'm not a fan of the map in the back. It's very I don't want to pull it out of the book, but it doesn't fit the theme of a classic, medieval fantasy game. Too many bright colors and stuff, but it's nice to have. But man, is the book laid
I
out
love
really
bright
well?
colors.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's your old school maps and everything.
Imperial Fist players will pick a fight with you over that, John.
I know.
Bright colors.
I know. So I wanted to give some shout outs to those. I also did get my Imperium Maledictum. That's one I plan on running on the channel. So I'm hoping a couple of you nerds will sign up for that.
I'm now maybe gonna take a peek at that. Although I've got what is it, Warpstone or something else that's like a third party version of 40K roleplay. But I picked up recently some of the new version of GW's Kill Team.
Yes, I've heard good things.
And it's nifty. It's definitely, what I don't like is they definitely raised the price point.
Yeah.
To get into it a lot. It was a much cheaper game originally, but nice books, drool worthy, that type of stuff. But I guess the last season is basically, like it's all like Space Hulk exploration or a bunch of Space Hulks smashed together type of exploration. I was like, man, that's a perfect mega dungeon.
For Mega Hulk dungeon.
Yeah.
The prices going up on things it's printing is getting really steep everywhere. So I can understand why prices are going up on the printing side. I mean, the PDF side, it's kind of hard to say, but
it's a combination of
you shouldn't have to pay more than $15 to $20 for a PDF of anything. Truth be told,
I was going to say they price pointed Kill Team. So I agree with you, right? Cost of inflation and those things are driving it up, right, especially on printing.
They also, I get it for real world.
I don't like it either because I'm not making more money even with the inflation going up. I'm over here like they call it inflation, but I'm feeling deflated personally.
Right. In fact, I'm going through my company right now and asking for a pay raise because I haven't had a pay raise in 2.5 years. And they're like, well, you've got to justify it. I'm like, well, that's fine. I can do that. So, because they've just added a new warehouse for me to manage with a whole different computer system that I have to learn, which is fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but it is.
Justify it other than the new responsibilities and the additional responsibilities and like, you know, the expansion there, right?
And I want to take a quick break here and give a giant shout out to Runebeard is in the house. Danny,
up,
my
buddy?
boy.
How are you, man?
I'm doing great,
Yeah.
brother. How are you?
I'm
Oh,
good. I
nice.
was letting you guys speak.
Sunflower.
You guys were really chatty, so I didn't want to just blow in and get rude. But hey, guys, how's everybody doing?
We're good, brother. We're good. Danny is
Good.
Danny's one of my players for my Troll Lord games, Castles and Crusades. He played a dwarven cleric, and he sent me. Was very kind. He had extra copies of a lot of the. What are they called, Danny? What was the books? The
The codexes.
Codexes,
For the different,
so
cultures.
thanks to him, I now have every codex that's out. So
Yeah.
Danny was that was super awesome of you, sir.
It's somebody gave them to me as a gift, and I've got a weird thing about charging somebody for something that was gifted to me. I can't stand the thought of that. And when you said you didn't have them, I was like, "Oh, that's their new home," and it gets them off my shelf. I don't
Yeah,
need two
and
copies of
they look so good on my my
Yeah.
CNC shelf. Let me tell you, which I got the bookshelf material back here. I'm going to Menards, which is our version of Home Depot up here in Minnesota. I'm going to Menards tomorrow, and I got to buy the decorative bricks. I'm gonna build the
Nice.
shelves up so I can start.
Stay out of the model railroad department, John, if you value your life. You will find a scale, and Maynard's is the company that makes all kinds of crazy model terrain. Like, if I were to start gaming all over again, I would probably
That's what
just
you said.
choose HO scale, and everybody would have these weird freaking like model
100%.
railroad dudes.
Yeah.
But you then look at like I'd lay out a 4x4 table and be like, this is where you start.
Right.
And you'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Hold on
I
1
can't-
second. Let
I
me
can't
interrupt
go to
everybody
place-
here real quick.
With
Hey,
family
Steven.
models, military models.
Hold
that
on,
shit's
Red.
sexy.
Hold on, Red. Hey, Steven, I know you're muted. Take yourself off of mute.
Okay.
That beautiful lady standing next to you is far too pretty to be married to your ugly ass.
Well, I've said that for 30 years. You want to know the true beauty and the beast?
Right. It's lovely to meet you, dear. His wife is also on the Discord, and she's the one that makes all the cool merchandise. So she's been a great supporter of Mr. Means.
That is the power of love and a really great life insurance policy.
Or a paycheck, one of the two. I mean, I don't have a good life insurance policy, but I have a very good paycheck. Hence why my wife still stays with me. But
Okay.
and of course you could be like Danny, pushing 60 and still dating and single. He's single
Well, why
and
don't
ready
you
to
just-
mingle.
You got both
I
of them
ain't ready
printed
to
out.
mingle,
Should
man.
bring the printouts.
I don't mingle. I got a dedicated girlfriend, and I ain't getting married again. Did that twice. I ain't doing that again.
Right? Danny's smart.
Right?
Learn.
Yeah.
Red, you were saying something before I so rudely
one
interrupted.
time, 37 years.
Good for you, man.
Good,
That's
good
awesome.
for you, man. That's why all your
Dated a
hair's
lot
gone.
before that, but
That's why all your hair's
Well,
gone.
my second marriage, I got my daughter out of it. She's 21 now, so hey, I consider that marriage a win. The first one was a freaking train wreck on fire. So anyway,
I'm sorry,
I
man.
never get married in Vegas. Spring break.
In an Elvis outfit.
I got married at a creek in the deep south to a very terrible person.
And there was an old guy there called her father with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Hey,
I got
Right.
married the first time I got married in Reno, and I swear to God, we walked into the Chapel of Love, and there was a lady
And Elvis
outside,
said-
an older lady smoking a cigarette, and she was smoking a cigarette, and I was like, "Oh, excuse me," and she's like, "Don't worry about it." First of all, so then we walk in, we're standing there. The same lady comes out from behind the curtains in the suit, and she's got a Bible in her hands, and she's like, "Are you two ready?" And we're like, "Yeah." We looked at each other, and I shit you not, guys. She looked at us and she goes, "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today." and that's how she
Well, you're
sounded.
married
I'm
by
not
Patty and Selma.
right. Exactly. It was.
Right?
It was.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
she was a
I can see
smoker.
it, man. I can see it.
Yeah, it was
Are you two
brutal.
Utes ready to get married?
Yeah, you
Hold
Utes.
each other's hands.
Utes.
Look
Are
at her
you
like you
stooping
love her.
her, or is she stooping you? No.
Yeah.
Is this part of the normal marriage vows?
Yeah. Yikes.
It wasn't on the questionnaire.
I'm just gonna say, take all of this information and use it in your next games. It's gonna be great.
That's right.
How can you not?
Yeah, marriage, the role play. Wait a minute. I thought I saw that on a Cinemax channel.
Steven,
You just got to
you
have a
guys are
character tied up going through that. One of the players has just got to be tied up going through it, and it's like, and this is how we're starting the campaign, and it's all going to be downhill from
This
here.
sounds like a bad episode.
Max
of
I,
Cult.
the only way you can save Max IO is if you marry his incredibly hot but dumb daughter.
Change that.
Back
Lady
to the
Gaga
casino.
Song. Change that Lady Gaga song to Bad Melee.
Yeah. It's horrible.
But
All right.
we've got that Harry thing that can probably marry the daughter. So
I don't even know how to respond to that. But talking about RPGs, Danny, what are you playing right now?
I am in a on Thursday at my daughter's house. My buddy Brian is running a Savage World Solomon Kane game, which has been going okay. It's been going okay. Monday, my buddy Craig is running for our local game society, which we do online. We're playing Old School Essentials.
Oh, nice.
Which is it's been going. That's been going pretty good actually. Nothing like making up a second level druid with 4 hit points. That'll if that don't make you play safe.
Sounds like a
nothing will.
first level cleric in Castles and Crusades.
Yeah.
Who decides to
it's-
fight a
it's-
giant spider by himself?
Well, I kind of fell off in a hole, and bad things happened after
Excuses.
that. That wasn't the worst idea, though.
No,
I
the
almost
worst
got
idea
perked a
was the
couple
other
of
player
times.
jumping in with a spear on top of you. But we won't
Yeah.
go there. Steven, that looks amazing. Is that the mouse pad?
well, that's the supplementation for the mouse pad. It doesn't, because a mouse pad, of course, is going to be a little bit duller than,
Right.
and of course, my camera's not giving the best picture. But yeah,
We get the
so
concept.
that's the star field and everything we put on the back of it.
That looks really good.
Um,
Well, and remember, Meanies,
Yeah.
you'll be able to buy that pretty soon.
yeah, yep.
Are
So-
you playing anything right now, John?
No, I've been like I said, I took a hiatus for most of October, just because of the whole house thing. I
But you're in
moved
the
in.
new
This
place
is
now.
this is the new
Nice.
house. This is the basement.
Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Except my heater blew up last night, so I'm in 30. What is it right now? It is 33 degrees, snowing, and I have no heat.
Welcome to home ownership.
Damn.
That's no good.
Yeah, and I talked to the furnace guy, and he's like, "Yeah, I can come out. I can be there tomorrow." This was last night. I can be there tomorrow. It's only $400 on top of everything else. I'm like, I can wait till Monday. I got space heaters, but he did offer at no charge to drop off some big industrial heaters for us, which was
Nice.
super
Nice.
nice. Yeah. Well, in Minnesota, it gets pretty cold here. So in northern Minnesota, I mean, I'm literally
Man, you gotta
an
crank up the
hour
wood
and a
stove
half
there.
away from the Canadian border, so they take being out in the cold pretty serious. So yeah, but now we're fine. I mean, the house is at a comfortable 65, which I mean it's well insulated, obviously, because we haven't had heat on in a day and a half now. So
That's
it's not too
That's
bad.
pretty
And
good.
all we've got is space heaters, so we put a
Yeah,
little
that's-
space heater in the kids' room, and he
Yeah.
slept like a baby last night. He didn't have a problem. And then
We've had a
we didn't
pretty-
have a heater in
pretty-
our room. We just
we've
snuggled
had a
up
pretty
with some
nasty
blankets.
cold snap in North Carolina the past 2 or 3 days, but it's warming up now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it
No,
can-
we
it can-
we
it
won't
can
see warm
up.
weather again until probably April or May. I mean,
Yeah.
March.
yeah. It's. I mean,
I live in the
Yeah.
we had a
Pacific
really
Northwest.
bad
It never
long
gets
winter
that
last year.
cold.
Coming into this year, I mean, we still had snow on the ground at April 15th, April 20th.
Yeah.
It was. We went on our. Let's see. We went on our cruise tax day, so April 15th. I think is when we came back, and there was still snow. We had snow up until May, early May. We still had snow on the ground, so it was a long winter for us here. And our typical cold snap comes like January, February is when it's like, negative 20 outside. So it gets pretty chilly here. Negative 10.
Subarctic.
That's not a cold snap. That's just where energy on the planet gave up.
Yep.
That's what someone else told me. Well, I mean, I moved up here because I like the cold.
God hates the Upper Peninsula.
Say again?
I said God hates the Upper Peninsula.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Even the Canadian, my company is a Canadian-based company, and so I have a lot of coworkers and stuff. They'll call me and they'll be like, "Jesus Christ, it's colder there than in Edmonton," and I'm like, "Yeah, well,
I was
yeah."
going to say, I live farther north than you do, and it never gets that cold where I'm at.
Yeah, but that's because you live in a land of pussies. So
We do have a lot of cats here. It's true.
Coastal breeze, man.
right. I mean, that's what I meant. I mean, totally. Yeah. No, it's and we have the lake. It's
Yeah, that's the problem. We got the big lake. That's
We
where
got the
the
big
icy
lake,
melt
yeah.
and blows
10,000
onto other
lakes.
land.
10,000 lakes.
Bullshit.
It does get cold, but I like it. I like it, and it's a dry snow. It's not like Chicago, where if you've ever been to Chicago in the wintertime, it's just miserable.
That's where I grew
what
up.
I was about
That's
to
why I
say,
don't
man.
live there anymore.
Right.
That's what I
There
was
you go.
about
It's
to
dry
say.
snow.
I was raised in the South, but was born in Chicago, and people down here in North Carolina was like, "Oh God, there's 2 inches of snow." I'm like, "Yeah, okay. You consider that snow? To me, that's a little bit of dandruff."
Yeah.
You know,
So just a quick shout out to Miguel here. He posted in the chat. Really nice theme. Wanted to thank everyone that helped with Jose's GoFundMe for the funeral expenses to give you a big thank you. So Jose was, I believe, one of Miguel's friends or family member who passed away. I don't remember the specifics, but anyway, he did post, and I think some people helped support it. So a big thank you to all the meanies out there for helping. And like I said, Miguel has his eBay store there in the chat. And Miguel, if you could go on the live stream for YouTube and post that link there as well, that would be awesome. Yeah, so anyway, yes, I live in the land of when hell froze over, and the frozen apocalypse will be here. We're not people, we're popsicles. But hopefully the heater guy will be coming out Monday or Tuesday. So, and it's a common error and it's not a major expense, hopefully. But then I also found out my garage door is about to take a shit, so that's $1,200 out the window. So, and it'll break at the least most inopportune time, of course. So we're gonna, I guess we're gonna. I haven't talked to the wife. I told her about it. We haven't scheduled anything yet though, but so I got to get on that too. So and then of course the bathroom for those just tuning in. My bathroom faucet. I thought it's a quick repair. It's an ugly faucet. It's old. I'll just replace it. It's a 10-minute job. And no, it's all fucked up.
A
So.
3-hour tour.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Red. Totally. So yeah,
There is no
gotta
such thing
fix
as
that
a
up.
10-minute job.
Yeah, it's
Right?
nothing has let's say the easiest time I've had this weekend. This is our first weekend in the house. This is the easiest I've had, or this is our second weekend. I'm sorry. We moved in last Wednesday, a week ago. The easiest thing I've had is putting together a $300 entertainment stand. And well, if you've
if
ever
you're
been,
if you're getting a $10 job, you're in Detroit, probably doing something you shouldn't be doing. That's all I have to say about that.
right. Well, you gotta, hey, $10 is $10, man. So let's see. What other gaming goodness is on the horizon? Steven, what you've been playing Top Secret?
Yeah, we play Top Secret on another site with our GM, but we play Covert Ops. But unfortunately, the Batman has been kind of stressed out work and personal, and we've had to cancel several times on getting that going again. But Top Secret, I can't say enough about our GM, Scott Congable. He does a wonderful job. It's rich in NPCs and it's got depth to it. And he even the next morning, so we play every other Monday. By Tuesday, he's got a full blown 27-page recap out for us.
That's crazy. Well, and just
And
so
we're
everybody
on
knows,
this.
Bill Logan is on the channel too. He's on the Discord, and he is
more energy than me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, well, his friends, he's met some writers that he works with. Let me throw out the writers' names here. You'll know some of them. And he meets these guys for dinners at time too. John Gilstrap, Brad Thor, Ted Bell. Well, one of them's dead. I think Gilstrap has just died recently, but he had met these guys for dinner and a bunch of times, and he talks to them quite often. Of course, when they're alive. But Brad Thor is probably his most I don't want to say this, communicative, and so he gets a lot of information and writing information from him, and he is toying with the idea of writing a novel based on our adventures. That because the team that he's got with myself and 3 others, Batman included, have been together without one being killed, and the other part is we've had successful missions.
Yeah, there's a script out there called The Argyle, so it's a movie right now with what's his name, Superman. What's the guy's name?
Which
Henry
one?
Cavill.
Cavill?
Yeah, Henry Cavill. Which the movie looks like it's going to be a hoot. So I was just picking on you though, because
Yeah, I know.
she's a writer that writes spy novels, and it's it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Red, what are you? We haven't heard from you, and we keep talking over you, so I do apologize. What's your gaming goodness going on right now, aside from traveling the role playing game?
Right. You guys played any of the Shadow Dart?
Heard of it, was going to back it, and then decided not to because I was buying a house.
Oh man, you should
I backed
have.
it, but I haven't looked into it yet. I'm waiting for the print to show up because I really would rather read a dead tree after working on a computer all day instead of
Right. That hands-on experience, yeah. It's honestly, it's pretty tight. It's like
I've heard
I've
good
been
things about
saying that it's to BX what AD&D, what BX was to AD&D. This is to LFG. You know, because that's my other kink is the low fantasy gaming.
Oh,
But
Steve Krog.
it's all. Yep, got to throw that one out there. But 100%, it's like get the PDF with the first 3 levels, and as far as introductions to the game, particularly anything OSR or like we were talking about earlier, 6 stats, AC, HP,
Yeah.
ascending armor class. It uses what's that newfangled thing? Advantage, disadvantage, and
newfangled.
yeah,
That's great.
I
it's
will.
just some.
Is that the one with the D6s? Advantage, disadvantage?
Steve,
Just saying.
I will come through the computer screen and strangle you with your microphone cord.
I'm serious. My next game is just going to be D6s because I'm going to make a game out of, with just D6s that Mr. Mean is going to utterly love, just because of how much he dislikes the D6.
I don't dislike
it as
it.
a
I have a ton of D6 games. I just they're not none of what is it? Black Iron by Feral Games. D6 game. D6 dice pool game. I love it. The Genesis D6 game, dice pool game. I love it. There are GURPS. I love it.
I'm gonna disagree with you there, man. Sorry, not a GURPS fan.
Well, I mean, to each their own. I like GURPS.
Splat books are great.
Fantasy. What is it?
Great.
Fantasy Age by Green Ronin. 3D6. Love it. Great system. I'm just
That's a
not
good
a
game.
fan of certain D6 systems that suck.
Well, I'm in the middle of making a D10 system that that you'll not be a fan of. No.
And you're gonna send me like
just-
20 preview copies, right? Just to annoy me,
Yeah.
like one a week.
That's the plan.
Yeah, of
We've
course.
talked about this before, John. I'm getting to where I don't like dice pool system as much, but I I do not like Shadowrun.
Oh yeah, Shadowrun is one of my
oh,
all-time. I
no,
hate it.
that one's-
I love the world, and I tell you
Yeah,
what, if
the
I'm going to play
setting-
Shadowrun, I'm going to use Low Life 2090.
Yep, that's what I was about to say.
I-
That's a much better game. I love the setting in Shadowrun,
Phenomenal
but
setting. Again,
that
low
system
fantasy
is good.
gaming. Steve Grogg,
And,
Mr.
I'm
I
not a fan
walked
of
off the cover
Vampire.
of GQ. Him and his damn beautiful wife.
I'm not a big fan of the World of Darkness stuff either. The D10 dice pool stuff. Not a big huge fan of that stuff.
So Miguel says in the chat that they were playing the white box, and they didn't miss any of the complicated rules of 5e nor Pathfinder Second Edition. Amen, Miguel. Yeah, there's something to be said for simplicity. I mean, here's the thing: if you enjoy the game, and I bag on a lot of D6 games because I'm not a fan of the simple D6. But if you enjoy the game, that's all that matters. I mean, to Genesis, I think. Wow, that's an amazing game. That's just so much rich lore, setting, but the mechanics are actually pretty good. And it's funny because if you read it, it's pretty close to almost a ripoff of World of Darkness, except with
Yeah.
D6s instead of D10s.
But the setting saves it. The setting for
Oh,
it
the
is just
setting. Well, and the
unbelievable.
mechanics actually work really well with the D6s. And I'm not a huge D6 fan, but if it's good, it's good. And but you're right. The setting does. I would have preferred it. I would have said pay the royalty fee to World of Darkness and use D10s because I think D10s are phenomenal. I'm just not a fan of D6s, but for that game, it does work because that's the only mechanics we have, and it works.
I love a dice pool system if the dice pool system is not just you succeed or you fail based on like a single roll.
Right. Yeah, I think if it's a true dice pool, the pool has to matter. Like, Earl of Fife's, Heroes and Hardships. That's a great, D10, Legends of the Five Rings, phenomenal system. Still one of my all-time favorite. In fact, Brian was one of my players in the L5R. We did a little like 3 or 4 shot game where they fought Mahosuki, which is basically a black magic user. And yeah, I mean the game's 20 years old and it held up. I mean, is it the perfect? I'm a big fan of there's no perfect system, but I am a fan of if you're having fun, if everyone's having a good time, then that's all that matters. What is that? Heroes of Adventure, Stephen, that we played with Brian?
Yeah, we played a lot of things with Brian, but
Right.
Heroes of Adventures was introduced to us, and yeah, I loved
I
it.
gotta say-
I love the simplicity of it because it's a D20, but you get to raise your skills by D4, D6, D8, and you get to add that to your D20 roll.
Almost like
Um,
original Alternity.
Yeah.
The steps, but it's only in the positive, not the negative. Yeah, I mean, what a simplistic but yet good game system, and it's completely free. So anybody who says
Yeah.
they can't play RPGs because it's too expensive, well, you didn't look at Heroes of Adventure because it's
No, the only
100%
cost
free.
that I had was sending out for the printed copies, and
Right, and
and
if
that
you've
was
got a
actually
printer- you got a printer at
pretty
home.
cheap,
Yeah.
even with the shipping from England, because I tried to get like 3 or 4 of the places that said, "Hey, we're good at this printing thing," also, and they wanted almost double in the United States for it for the color copy because the stuff that I have. Now I know that one of the other guys, I think, God, I don't remember who else did a print copy, but they went with the color. The color outside, but they went with the big 8.5 by 11. Well, I went with color inside too. But I wanted the color.
Yeah, Basic Fantasy is free too, Miguel says in the chat. That's
Yeah,
another good
basically,
one.
there's several of
There's a
them.
lot
Yeah,
of free games out there. I mean,
And Basic Fantasy, he's right. And Basic Fantasy is also available through Lulu and Amazon at crazy cheap prices.
right.
Yeah, a lot of their books are like $3.99, $4.99, $5.99.
Very
They're
affordable.
cheap.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were talking about dice pool and stuff like that. So Top Secret, the new Top Secret, the New World Order, goes off of a not really a dice pool, but it goes off of a skill and tradecraft and decision die. So depending on how hard it is your decision die so you roll 3 dice, but you have you can get your skills up to like a D12 plus D12. So you'll have like possibly 2 D12s for your skill, or not for your skill, but yeah, for your skill. Your attribute will be anywhere from a D6 to a D12, and then you have your decision die for your roll. We had to because the game is pretty intense the way our GM runs it. We actually had to come up with an online character sheet instead of a printed character sheet. Let me show you guys. So here is the character sheet. So this is the main page of the character sheet that we came up with, and then of course here's the skills. So these are all of the skills that you get trained with. So when you become an agent in Top Secret, you get the training on everything. Okay, it just depends on what you take as your handicap. So for me in this character, I took as tech. So anything that was tech, I have really low in. Like forensics is based on tech. Hacking is based on tech. So I went completely against my what I really know because I am a tech, and went more with things that were intelligent based and combat based. But what we've come up with is, like here's the gear, and we've come up with a range combat pool where you can actually put in like, let's say you're doing 50 feet and you're going to do it with your handgun. You pick your handgun that you have, and we have all of the weapons for melee combat and range combat in a shared spreadsheet with pictures that all character sheets connect to.
That's crazy, man. I don't know. Maybe for me, that's just too much. I don't want to have to do a complicated Excel spreadsheet to play my character. That's just
No,
me.
you don't. You don't. This right here plays by itself. You just put in, okay, the target's 50. You're doing handgun. You pick your handgun, and it tells you what you roll. Or if you've got a silenced pistol,
it's just not my cup of tea, man.
I know,
not
but
my cup of tea. We got
the Lucky 13.
We got the Mr. Earl there of Fife. So,
yep.
I mean,
how's it going?
He's all low key with his husky.
Yeah.
Come on, man, get some animation going here.
How y'all doing? Hey, Jason.
How's it going,
How are
Jason?
you guys?
You just missed it. We were just raving about Heroes in Hardship.
No. Good.
Slacker joining the chat late.
I'm glad.
Look right there, Stephen O's quick on the draw.
Mine hasn't even been unwrapped.
Yeah, I was like, it looks too shiny.
Yeah.
Mint condition. Well, I don't play any face-to-face people quite yet, and the PDF is working just
yeah. In fact, I think there was just an update to the PDF, wasn't there?
Yeah.
A month or so ago, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 1.5.
I just
He's
bought
just shooting
Yes.
for the lemony. You're just shooting for the lemony freshness bonus. bonus
He-
next
that's
time
right,
that you have to fight
He's gonna
some of
op- the next time we
my,
play Brian, he's gonna
H&H
open it on
Undead.
stream. He's gonna open it.
That's right.
Just to rub it in, because that's the kind of jerk Steven is.
Oh man, I made a character sheet for Project Sunflower that goes through and does all the math for the players for character creation stuff and makes it super easy to play. Purely
His is
because
more complicated than mine. Trust me.
it's pretty fancy.
I'm not picking on
Um,
you, Steven. I'm
it's-
just saying it's just not my cup of tea. I
But
mean,
so here's the secret is yours looks complicated. And the reality is, if you want people to really engage with it, it's got to look super simple.
right.
Or if it can't look simple, it's gotta look like engaging in a colorful, bright, fun way. So people are like, "Oh, I can try this.
Is that
This
why?
doesn't look too
Is
hard."
that why Project Sunflower has all the bright yellow and greens? Is that what you're going
Honestly,
for?
it has bright yellow because yellow is my favorite color, and I get to do that. I'm
Yeah.
making the game. But in the game itself, anything in the book, anyways, that I'm running, or when I run the game, if I mention something as yellow, then that's a key to the players to say that it's safe. If I mention something as green, then that means it's about to fuck them up. So if I say somebody's got green eyes, that means you don't want to fuck with that person because they'll kick you off the side of a dome or some shit. You
There
know?
you go.
But
So
but if I say that like they're wearing a yellow shirt or something, then that tells it's kind of a key into the players to let them know that person isn't there to just destroy them.
right, which is awesome.
And so if you look through the art in the book, you'll see that there's a lot of that terminology, that the visual terminology is in there because part of
well, you just
part
got
of
some
art
plain creepy shit in
is-
your book. This is the way it boils down. to.
Well,
Which
you
is
know,
good, I'm
if
not
your
complaining.
monsters don't look like so, I can't like you know in a video game or something you can see the monsters moving. You can tell why they're what makes them monsters. In a book, you all you've got is this one image to
Right,
really
you gotta
tell the
make the most
players
out of
this
it.
is fucked up. You got to make the most out of every image needs to hit and to tell a story and.
Yeah.
And none of that space in a book can be wasted because paper's too damn expensive.
Exactly. So to jump ship here real quick and bring it full circle back to Heroes and Hardships, Mr. Earl of Fife is in the chat. So give us the elevator pitch for those that don't know what the game is, sir.
I usually tell people it's a universal role-playing game system that has probably the complexity somewhere in between GURPS and Savage Worlds. So if Savage Worlds isn't enough for you, then and GURPS is too much for you, maybe Heroes and Hardships is that level that you might want to shoot for. It's obviously, if you're familiar with 7th and Legend of the Five Rings 4th edition and below, it has some similar mechanics to those D10 dice pool systems, additive, not successes. So you will have to add some stuff together. Sorry. My 6-year-old can do it, so I'm sure other people can do it too.
Leaves me
Wait a
out.
minute.
I'm
I'm
out.
calculations in the new character sheet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Steven, didn't you do some plugging away for him? Yeah.
Yeah, I updated the character sheet, made some basic equations. I'm learning more and more about the whole PDF thing and finding complicated equations. WikiSnapper helped me here about a month ago with some of that.
yeah,
Did I?
I'll
I don't
draw.
even
That'll be
remember.
in the 1.6 update. I'm just waiting for a couple other things, and then it expands the skill list. Which at the current character sheet, there can be a limit on skills. You sometimes you have to double up a row, which
Not
can
anymore.
not anymore. Which can be a problem. But yeah, that'll be added to the downloads.
And
So,
what's the newest because it strikes I bought it. I apologize. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but it's been crazy. We just moved into the house, and then of course my furnace blew up yesterday. So I'm in the dead of winter here in Minnesota. So
Yeah.
I'm as you can see, I'm bundled up here. But the Dwarven supplement, what's it called? Just came out.
Dungeons Deep and Caverns Old.
Yeah.
And the adventure part is Secrets of the Sacred Stone. It's on Kickstarter now. I'm in. Yeah, it's kind of it's my idea for the setting itself is to kind of turn the dwarf thing on its head a bit. It has a lot of influences from Warhammer, particularly 40k, probably because I'm running a 40k game right now, and that's just kind of what's on my mind. Imperial Maledictum, which I'm guessing that's what he's going to pull up. That's what I'm actually running right now. But yeah, so it has a lot of things to do with that. As far as the new mechanics in the book, it's kind of in threes, like setting information, adventure information, new rules. So there's like corruption rules, which can be like 40k-ish, or they can be like Lord of the Rings-ish, you know, corrupted by the Ring of Sauron, the One Ring, that sort of thing. So it works kind of, if you're familiar with Heroes of Hardships, the corruption stuff works kind of a blend of hazards and surges, kind of the way that all works. And so, yeah, so new mechanics, adventure setting.
And that's on Kickstarter right now, right?
It is, yeah.
Put
Mhm.
it
For
put a
another
link
10
in the,
days or
to the
so.
Kickstarter in the YouTube chat so people can go find it.
Do you like the Imperial Maledictum? Is it good?
I
haven't got
do
it.
like it. There's a couple weird things, but overall I like it. I like so this is not 5e ish, but there's an advantage disadvantage mechanic, and it's essentially you swap your digits. So if it's a percentile system. So if you roll a 54 and you have advantage, it would switch it to a 45. If you had disadvantage, it
Okay.
wouldn't. So it's basically if it can switch the dice and make it worse, a disadvantage will do that, or if it can make it better, an advantage would do that. And then doubles or criticals or fumbles,
Yeah,
depending on if you're higher or lower than your skills.
Before we moved and I shut down my local gaming group, we played the old Dark Heresy second edition. And everything I'm reading in here addresses a lot of the problems that we had with, Dark Heresy and Rogue Trader. So I've made a couple first level characters and they seem pretty competent, more so than they did in like Dark Heresy or Rogue Trader. Previous editions. So I know me and I'm sorry, I'm half asleep. I forgot your first name, Earl of Fife.
Jason.
Jason, there we go. I'm sorry. I'm
You're
old.
fine.
I'm tired. I'm grumpy. Him and I have been talking a little bit about it because he's obviously a big fan of Imperium Maledictum, and so am I. And I got the GM screen too. I don't know. Did you get the GM screen?
I did not get the GM screen. I got the digital version, but I didn't. I hardly ever play in person, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't be much use to me.
Yeah, I collect like a whore, so I'm glad I got it. It's beautiful.
And you had to move them too.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you see the video I posted last week? Yeah. Books, more books, more books. Oh, more books. Oh, and more books. Yeah, it was so many books. I'm sorry, say again.
Second moving truck just for the books.
Third moving truck just for the books.
See?
It was easier. And this is how horrible it is. You guys know the grocery store bags, the canvas type bags that a lot of stores are going to now. We have Aldi. I don't know if you guys have Aldi where you live, but they have their own bags. They're pretty decent sized bags. They're about 2 foot by 1 foot canvas type bags with a big strap on them. And you buy them for like $1.50, whatever they are now. It was easier and more efficient to just load those full of the books and carry and move them because the boxes I would have had over 35 boxes that I couldn't lift because I'm old and grumpy and surly and I'm tired and I just don't want to move that shit because it's heavy. We tried to get a moving company and they wanted $1,500 to move us literally less than a quarter of a mile from my old house, which was a rental, to my permanent house now where I live. So yeah, I moved it all pretty much by myself. One of my buddies did step up to help, uh, and we got it all done. But yeah, we didn't have any furniture, so it was literally just all of my books and the little couple of things my wife and my kid have. We literally, the majority of the move was all my books. So yeah, it's my wife is not happy with me, but the basement is mine. This is the basement, and it will, this wall back here will, that's the wood right there for the bookshelves that I'm going to start working on tomorrow. First I have to fix the sink, and then I comedy of errors.
In the South, we call that a shitbird supremacy clause. All them shitbirds you moved for the past 30 years, it's time to knock them in the head and be like, "Hey, all right, come on, fellas,
Yeah,
I need
well,
help."
I'm the
And then
kind of guy that
I'm
I
never
would
going
rather
to see
give,
you again.
I'm the kind of
I
guy
am
that
not
would rather
just
give
saying
you
this.
50
I'd have
bucks.
been there if I didn't live in Washington.
Yeah. Well, no offense. I would rather give you 50 bucks and let you spend it on whatever you want than help you move. It's the
I've been there. I've already contributed to that fund with John. This is the guy who the stuff that he couldn't sell. I saw John. This was in his younger, meaner days. I saw John take a saw to and destroy all the remaining furniture that he was leaving behind, rather than allow some. I think he may have used the word vulture to come and get it for free, rather than having paid for it.
Who fits the dumpster better?
Thank you, Red. Thank you. Yeah,
I mean, I certainly didn't stop him. He also had a saw in his hand, as I mentioned.
well, and I also remember a certain Mr. Isaacoff, when he was moving from one apartment to another, had a box, and I had to lift the box because he's got a bum knee. Now I
Oh
have
yeah.
the bum knee, but this was 20 years ago when I helped him move. So yeah. Jason, you have some other supplements out too. Why don't you plug those? Because there's a certain sci-fi supplement that I think is really
Oh goodness. Well, there's a sci-fi bestiary. There's a fantasy bestiary. There is a ton of adventures. There's a vehicle bestiary, if you want to call it that. There's a lot. There's
GM
like I
supplement?
think there's 21 Heroes and Hardships releases already.
Wow.
So
Yeah, it's very
and
well
then
supported game, guys. If you haven't
I-
checked
I
it
have
out,
it
go
all.
check it out.
And
I know,
he
I
has
have
it all.
too.
You guys have a great Discord too.
Yeah.
With access to Jason.
Yeah, I try to be available for people who are interested and want to talk about the game. I'm trying to get people to play the game, and they want me to. I don't know if people want me to run it for them. I was like, just do it like everybody else. Just open the book, figure it out, stumble through it, run the game for people.
No,
so.
you were great, and I always joke because it feels like you're always on my channel, which is a compliment. Thank you, but you're always on your channel too. I don't know how you do both, buddy. There's not that many hours in the day.
Yeah, it's the lack of sleep and constantly
but
being at a
you're
computer
you're very
because of my
helpful.
other job too. So
Yeah, you're very helpful. You're very polite. You, Stephen O. Nice picture of the dolly there in the chat, Stephen. I'm gonna just say straight up, F you, buddy.
Yeah, well, when I was getting into had just gotten into H&H and was looking to run some games. I've been running RPGs and playing games for a long time, but questions come up. Everybody writes something a little bit different, and so I was able to just get on the Discord, and I got answers from Jason, the designer, pretty quickly. So
yeah.
I always chuckle because I started gaming in the late '70s, and so for me, I try to be both humble and grateful. I mean, like, I can get that kind of response, within minutes, hours, a couple of days, as opposed to like writing it up and sending it off and waiting
Brian,
for
I think the term you're asking for there is a SACE. Self-addressed stamped envelope. Remember those? Remember sending those to Wizards of the Coast or to
and I'll say
Games Workshop?
And I thought about doing that a whole lot more than I ever actually did. So let's
Right.
leave it at that, right? So I think it's, both a testament to the time, but also I think your availability that,
Yeah.
I was able to get sorted and felt much more comfortable running my game. So,
Yeah.
boom.
And the game plays really well. I don't think we, and not just to provide lip service, but as a true testament of the game. I think we all had fun, A, and B, it ran really smooth. I mean, there wasn't anything where we had to we'll just wing that. We
Well,
had
Well,
little
it,
it
time
has been
wasters.
play tested a lot. The only thing is mostly online. The only thing I was concerned about is the actual method of counting your results,
Yeah.
right? Which some people probably don't like because it takes a few more seconds to add some stuff up, right? Or figuring out how you need to generate your dice pool. So those are the big two things that are the questions, is like, with me doing it. So I created a Roll20 character sheet. So all that's automated. So I didn't really have to experience that as much. But like I said, I did really take my 6-year-old son and had him play with me and had him make the dice pools and add it up and see how long it took him. And it didn't take very long.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, if he can do it, then I'm sure other people can do it too. So
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Wiki was
Better.
nice enough to throw a link in the chat here for anybody who hasn't. You probably want to put that on the YouTube, though, Wiki, in the chat on the
I
YouTube.
was there. I'm doing it.
Okay, cool. Because more people are going to see it there than here. Everyone that's on the Mr. Mean Discord probably already has that link and is part of your group.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's a good thing. Um, so yeah, so hopefully now that I've moved in, I did drop and break a monitor, so now I only have the one monitor. I have two. In previous, I had two 32-inch LCDs up here, and so now I only have one. I have to go get another one, but they don't make this one anymore, and I can't find it online for a reasonable price. So now I'm in a quandary. The inner techno geek in me says to just buy the 42-inch curved widescreen. Uh, why are you saying no?
I,
So
I have
that
a
way
I
when
have
it
a curved
breaks, you're out
monitor
of
for
two
my. It's
monitors.
nice. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. What'd you say, Wiki?
So that way when it breaks, you're out all your monitors.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't have broke if I wasn't trying to do it like the wrong way. It's my fault it broke.
I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying that life isn't full of it wouldn't have done this except for that.
Right. And then Jason, you just said what? You got a
I have a curved monitor. They're pretty nice.
Yeah, I had
But
one.
I have 3 too. But yeah,
Way to
it's
rub it in,
super
Jason.
nice.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna go cry
for
myself to
it's for
sleep now.
work.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm running 3 monitors, but one of them's a drawing tablet.
Right.
That's
Your little Wacom, or is it a?
it's a Huion. It's like a Wacom, but it's off-brand
Yeah, it's a
and works
Chinese
better.
knockoff. It's okay.
It's got better tech support on it
Yeah.
versus the Wacoms, which are half the worst tech support I've ever dealt with.
I used to have to support Wacoms. I hate them with a passion.
Same here.
Yeah.
I've had them in the past, and I'll never own them again because the off brands are so much better now than
Yeah.
even the Wacoms used to be. Or yeah,
Costco has a beautiful 42-inch widescreen
Excuse me.
curved
Bless you.
LCD. I think it's by LG, and it's only like I want to say $329, which I paid.
With the
100
OLED curve.
Say again.
It had the OLED, OLED curve.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, those are beautiful.
Yeah, and it's got the backlighting on it and everything, and
Mhm.
I'm so tempted. But if I wanted to use it on a arm like what I have right now, I would have to buy a different arm because this is a V arm, so it sets 2 monitors. So
Mhm.
I just got to try and find another monitor that works. So I don't know. But I'm really missing the second monitor. It was really nice
Oh,
to
yeah.
have. So I do have 32-inch, to play with, so it's pretty decent size. But I'd like to get a I'd like to get another one to put over here. It makes when I'm recording and everything or doing interviews or whatever, it's a lot, right now I'm recording on this one screen. And so if I have to do anything, I have to minimize this and you guys see it, whoever's watching the stream has to see it. I do want to give a shout out to Larry. He's in the YouTube chat there. So he said, that he's a big fan of Wrath and Glory 40K as far as dice pools go. I don't know. I've never played Wrath and Glory. I think it's a D6 system. I know
It
I did
is.
try, what's their fantasy one? What is it?
Soulbound.
Soulbound, and I was not impressed. That's just me. It's a D6 dice pool system. It just didn't do it for me. I don't know. And when I heard Imperium Maledictum was coming out, and I was able to, your screen is blurry.
Yeah, it's because I got the blur filter behind me. Let's see. Yeah, whatever.
There it is. That's the game.
I'm just like, people can see my dog when he runs around. I don't care. No, the mess.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm down in the basement. The wife doesn't venture down here. There's too much nerd testosterone, so she won't come down here. So, and she's always so afraid of being on screen.
That shouldn't
It's
be.
not working,
I
Jason.
don't know why that's. Why is it? I turned it off. No, it's
It's all good. I know what it looks like. Soulbound.
I'm an engineer. I just can't figure this out. I don't
That's right.
understand.
Hey, I was in IT for 20 years. Trust me.
There you go.
I get it.
Well,
There
you
you
can ask
go.
John.
There it
You
is.
can ask John, Jason. Anything that I'm involved with that involves tech, something's going to screw up.
Yeah.
What I was about to say is, I'm sporting the old school monitor. I'm using the Curtis Mathis from 1978.
Hey, you know what?
For us old
Not only
people,
will
you
it
might
never
know what
break,
Curtis
it'll keep
Mathis
you
is.
warm with all the heat coming off of it. I just got to turn my plasma on in the bedroom. That'll provide enough heat.
CRT.
Yeah, when you got a ripcord for your computer monitor, and you're living the Stone Age dream, baby.
That's it. Magnifying glass in front of the screen.
I bet you got a floppy drive, don't you?
My wife will never
Man, I
tell.
got all kinds of floppy stuff, but we ain't gonna get into all that stuff. That's a long discussion for another day. But
So
So I
let's.
could probably find some 17-inch gateways that were built with the internals from like old Panzer tanks.
Yeah, they're bulletproof
that's
too.
how old I am. The year I graduated high school, they brought the first IBM into my high school's office in 1984. That's how old I am.
That's an itty bitty machine.
Thing was huge, dude. It
Wait a
took like
minute now.
9
Wait,
people to
wait.
carry that freaking thing.
Wait a minute now. I graduated in '84, and we had an actual computer lab of Commodores that were pretty good.
I
Yeah,
graduated.
he said
with
he grew
36
up in the Chicagoland area, so
I was born in Chicago. I was raised in North Carolina, Western North Carolina. I'm the same age as you are, Stephen.
Someone's wriggling
But,
something
yeah,
out.
that's the first year we actually got. I don't know if they got a computer lab, but I graduated with 36 people. Man, it was a very small school.
And half of
I
them
was
were,
I had
too.
classes with more
and
people
half of
than
them were
that.
related to each other. So
What's that?
half of them were
Oh, yeah.
related to the other half.
Ouch.
Do you remember this
That's
discussion about my
Kentucky.
first wife? Yeah, we're not gonna go there. But,
That's Kentucky.
I was going to say, I went into the military in '84. So geez, I feel old now.
I'm older than you are, though. ain't
Yeah.
Well,
Not by
John,
much,
I
though.
was going to do the same
by
thing, but I was going to do the same thing. I was going to go into the military. When the recruiters all came to the high school, I went up to the Marine guy and I said, "Okay, give me your spiel." He gave me a spiel, and I said, "Okay, I want to do 6 years and then retire." He looked at me and he went, "You can't do that." I go, "Yeah, I can. I already got 14 in with my dad because he was Navy." I said, 14 and 6 is 20, and it was like it was frozen.
Math
The-
is hard.
The only person, the two people that was to the right and was left of him was the Coast Guard and the Navy guy, and they were laughing their asses off at him because he still didn't understand it. I don't think today he understood it. Jarhead.
Hey, now.
Well, that's why they're recruiters.
Yeah.
I know.
It's like, those who can't do, teach.
Ouch.
Not to say anything bad about teachers because we need more of them. But, all right, well, let's see. It's almost 10 o'clock my time, and I can hear that my wife has gone to bed. So I think we're going to wrap it up. So real quick, Wiki, tell everybody where they can find you on the socials and everything.
I'm on Discord all the time. I'm on your Discord. I've got a Project Sunflower Discord I linked into here, and I tried to link it into YouTube, but then YouTube was like, "Oh, that's an external link. We can't have that," and it got rid of it.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
YouTube does that if you're not the person hosting the chat.
Oh, you know what? You
Um,
can make a comment on the channel though and do it that way, I believe.
Yeah.
Not in the chat. Just do a comment.
Usually it erases those two, but
Does it?
whatever. I'm not worried about that.
All right,
Yeah.
no worries.
I also have faultywiregames.com, and so there's ways to get in touch with me through there if you need to get in touch, if you want to get in touch with me, if you want to ask questions, all sorts of different ways to do that there.
All right,
At
Brian.
least two different ways.
All right, and then Brian, I think you resurrected your blog.
Yeah.
What is it?
I'm at jadelantern.com.
There you go. Still, after all these years, and then of
Yeah.
course Jason. Why don't you give us your links?
5games.com.
There
You can
go.
find me there. Link to our Discord and everything else. So
And you're on my Discord all the time too,
Yep.
as well. So people, if they have questions or comments, they can reach out to you.
Yep. Absolutely.
Stephen O, your lovely wife does all the cool cricket stuff, and hopefully he's going to make some swag for the Mr. Mean channel.
Yep. So keep an eye out on the swag. We'll post it in the channel. As John was saying, is that we're going to do a direct sell for him. Try to keep the costs as low as you possibly can, because she's just doing it as a little side hustle. She's been doing craft fairs and making some pretty good money on that. Yeah, so keep an eye on Mr. Mean's Discord, and he's going to tell us where he should start posting the pictures of stuff in which chat room, or which
we'll probably do it in
or maybe create a new one.
Yeah, buy, sell, and trade a place. We'll probably put it
Oh,
in there.
buy, sell, and trade. We can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, put it in
So
there.
look for that, and if you want to buy any of it, just let us know.
Help support the channel, which helps support Steven's wife. Because nothing's coming back. I don't need anything. I just think it'd be cool to see somebody else walking around with a Mr. Mean coffee mug. That would be cool. Red One, you've been quiet, and I appreciate your attendance. You're always on the Discord as well. Hopefully, you're back in town for a while.
For a little while, always lurking,
As all the good ones do, right?
right?
And then
I
there you go. And you're always on the Discord, so people can reach out to you. And then Danny, you're always lurking as well. You're here and there.
Yep.
Cool. All right, guys.
I'm retired. I don't do much.
I'm retired.
Okay.
That's right. Danny's always available. He's retired. He's got nothing but time. Jason, thank you so much for popping in. Wiki,
Yeah, of
as
course.
always, you're a rock star. So I appreciate the image and the art there. It's pretty cool. For those that have access to the book, page 204, look in the subway. It's pretty dope, I will say. Wiki put my logo in the, when you're sitting in the subways, you look up at the top, they have all the posters. There's my channel logo up there. So it's
One
pretty cool.
second, I'll get a share on that, or a screen share of it real quick. Give me half a moment.
It's pretty dope, actually. I mean, it's so subtle that you got to look for it, but when you see it, you're like, oh yeah. So it's pretty cool.
He'll have to scour the whole book looking for the other one I put in here.
No, you didn't. Did you?
You better believe there's another one in there.
Oh, you bastard! Now I'm gonna have to go.
I'm like that.
Oh, and
I love
I
Easter
said I was
eggs.
gonna
They're my
look through it and
favorite
see if I
thing.
could find it, and I didn't find another one, but I'll go look through it.
Like I said, I love Easter eggs. I put little details in things, and if you're paying attention, they're all like there's little things hidden all over the place.
I'm gonna chat with you offline because I found something that I thought was weird. I don't remember what I'll have to go back through the book, but I found something and I thought, does he mean this? Is that what? So I'll shoot you a chat. But
so it's this page right here, and then if we zoom in,
yeah, you got to zoom in.
oh man, of course,
there it is. Look at that. That's awesome.
Well, it's a lot harder to read on the PDF. I didn't realize that. Like on my version, it's way higher DPI. I'm gonna have to see about fixing that.
Oh, well, you don't have to, sir. It's cool enough as it is. Those who know. which is pretty cool. And this thing becomes available, I highly recommend everybody go pick it up because it's a cool. The layout is phenomenal. You did a really great job on it, Wiki.
I've been listening in on when people are talking about what they like for layout for a minute now because I felt like that was something I could learn on.
Yeah, no,
Was it,
you did a really good job, and
it's way down.
yeah,
My bad.
it's solid, man. But we're gonna wrap it up. I just want to say thank you to everybody for me coming back to the interwebs. Brian, thank you so much. And Star Anvil,
Oh, no.
Brandon wanted to jump in, but we're just wrapping up. I'm gonna let him know. So thank you, everybody. And everyone who watches us in the future. As always, like and subscribe. And as the old saying goes, be nice. We're gonna wrap up the stream there and call it a night. I've said all I can say. Thank you all for plugging your stuff. And we'll start running some games here on the channel real soon.
Yep.
Love to get
Yep.
some H&H going and some more Heroes of Adventure. And then maybe we can get Wiki to run Project Sunflower for us.
I will be up for that pretty soon. I'm a little sneak information. I've got somebody working on some Foundry stuff for me.
Oh, that'd be super cool, dude.
So yeah, that's I've got my fingers crossed.
Jason, you got
that it
anything going
works.
with Foundry?
Yeah, I've got a developer working on a Foundry mod. It's kind of slow going, but it's going to use a subset of gRPGA, which is a generic. It's basically so you can do multiple different systems within it, and we're using that construct to build the whole thing. So,
Awesome.
but yeah, it's already has a Roll20 sheet. But yeah,
Yeah, I've got a Foundry server just sitting right over there on a Pi 4.
yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, and let's do it again sometime. I really appreciate everyone watching, and as always, as the saying goes, like and subscribe, and I'll say be mean and all that fun stuff. And I'm gonna go to bed. So I hope you guys have a great night.
Thank
Take
you.
care, everybody.
Good night, everybody.